to stay.
Hello and welcome back to Beyond Boards, a podcast dedicated to the actions and interests of skaters beyond skateboarding. My guest today, Brian Delatorre, grew up in the suburbs of Miami where he started skating in 1999. He moved to San Francisco at the age of 19 where he spent the next few years skating and connecting with the local rippers while working side jobs. 2010 was a pivotal year for Brian with his excellent last part in Josh Stewart's Welcome to MIA video for MIA Skate Shop, which really put him on the map. In 2013, he turned pro for Habitat Skateboards, and since then has traveled all around the world multiple times, filming numerous video parts and sharpening his skills in another passion of his, photography. Since early 2023, Brian and his partner Kate have moved back to Miami where they are raising their 2-year-old daughter. So here's my conversation with Brian. I hope you'll enjoy it. So I'm going to have you listen to this first one.
Brian, what up? It's Danny. What are your fondest memories of skateboarding in Miami as a child? And what was it like coming up from Miami and moving to San Francisco, New York, and then back to Miami with Sacramento in between?
Whoa, I know who that is.
Yeah?
Yeah, Fuenzalida.
Yes, exactly. Danny Fuenzalida.
Yeah, man. Yeah, actually, I grew up skating with him for a few years. I've known him for a while. And the last, I think, 3 or 4 years that I was living in Miami, he and I, hung out tough. Mm-hmm. His ex and my ex were, good friends. And, we just, skated a lot. And just, Danny's just so talented on a skateboard.
Oh, yeah,
and
for sure.
I was 15, 16, 17, whoa, in awe. I just want to skate with this dude. Mm-hmm. And yeah, dude, skating in Miami, growing up in Miami was super grateful, actually, to have grown up where I grew up. The accessibility was just right there, There were pro skaters around. There was a skate park that had just opened. I think I was 13 or 14 when it opened. And I think I was a year and some change into skating. I started pretty late.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I started when I was 12. I started in 99.
Okay. And
Matt Canner opened up this skate park Control. And that was huge because there were no skate parks at that time. Mm-hmm. And I remember I was living so far west that my mom would take me downtown, and it's a 40-minute drive, 30 to 40-minute drive, depending on traffic. And I remember the first day I walked in and was blown away, oh my God. Mm-hmm. I remember the ground being so shiny and slippery. Yeah. And was wow, I can power slide. I think that's where I learned how to power slide.
Okay.
And yeah, Matt opening up that park kind of opened up my whole world to skateboarding.
Sure, yeah.
So I'd say Matt Canner was he was the one, dude, that really opened my world up. I was skating stuff out here, out west, little ramps and, this place called The Stage that we grew up skating, or behind a Publix loading dock. Just classic Florida, spots. And that was kind of my intro to skating. And then the park happened, and then that was whoa. And pros would come, Forrest Kirby, Ed Salego, Danny Renaud, and then locals. I got to meet the local scene. Mm-hmm. I got to meet and hang out with Paul De Oliveira, and I met Joel Meinholtz. Yep. Mm-hmm. and then Danny moved from California at some point during all of that, and I was really stoked. I'm skipping a couple things, but I mean, if I hadn't grown up where I grew up, a lot wouldn't have happened. So sure. It was all timing, place, classic formula. And
did you move to SF first? Was that where you went first when you left Miami?
Yeah, that was the first. But I had visited SF before. I visited New York first, and then I visited SF. Mm-hmm. I think I was 17 when I went to New York, and I knew some dudes from Ohio. They were living in Miami at the time, 80s Joe and a couple other people would like migrate during the winter to Ohio, like Dave Cato. And they were living in Brooklyn at the time, and I would stay up in Brooklyn. And that was my first, like, you know, staying at Dobbin when I was like I was a teenager. And meeting all those dudes, and they were like 10 years older than me. They were like in their early 20s, like, you know, mid to early 20s at the time. But anyway, my first visit to SF was around the same time, like 17. I had just gotten on Satori when I was like 15. I think I got on Satori. I was a kid, you know, like in that Roots and Culture video, I was like a little guy.
You hadn't been skating long. I mean, if you started at 12, that means only 3 years, right?
Yeah, no, I didn't even know how to like film lines really. It was just so new to me, you know, and like Matt helped out a lot with that. And like I had a couple other like older homies that were like, hey, you know, kind of, there was guidance, you know, when to sit down during sessions. It wasn't just like free for all, you know. I was like taught things at that age, you know, out of respect for like my elders, you know, older skaters and stuff. It was a different time. So yeah, I was 15. Matt Canner helped me out with like a little sponsor me VHS tape that he put together to give to Ed. And during that time, you know, I was listening to a lot of reggae and like just really into like what Ed was doing and his vibe and his energy at the time, and just like, whoa, like what's up with this dude? Like I love his skating and like how he dresses and like just everything, you know. And I was like, oh dude, this dude listens to Augustus Pablo too, like what? Like, so I found out about Satori and that whole like, you know, vibe, and was like really drawn to it. And I had Matt help me make a VHS tape, gave it to Ed gave it to Craig Najedli at Satori, and that was basically the beginning of that. And that was like kind of my intro to San Francisco. Okay. So, you know, a lot of that connects right to Craig Najedli too. It was like this like Matt, Ed, Craig, you know, and that was like how that came to be. So, you know, they came to visit Miami. They had like a Satori demo in Miami. I skated it, met Craig, met the team, and then that was pretty much it. And he asked if I wanted to be a part of their first video, and I was like, oh yeah, hell yeah.
Yes, please.
yeah, very. And you know, I was like super excited, and you know, was just skating a lot of handrails and a lot of big stuff and gaps during that time. Yeah, it was great. It's interesting, like growing up then in Miami, and then like being back now and seeing spots differently as like being older and skating differently. Yeah, an adult. Yeah, but yeah, then was just like, wow, free for all. You know, like, and the scene was so thriving. You know, like a lot of West Side skate shop dudes were living down here. Joe Perrin. Oh yeah. Those videos were like popping off, and you know, again, like I had the pleasure to like go on sessions with these dudes, you know, and was just blown away. Like, oh my God, yes, like I'm going out with Joe, I'm going out with Danny and Paul, and you know,
you're in the mix. Yeah,
I'm in the mix. And so there was that going on, and then I'd skate with Danny, you know, a bunch, and I graduated high school. Yep. And then I moved to the beach for almost a year, and then worked at MIA Skate Shop and did that for a little bit. And then, yeah, I was like, I want to move to San Francisco. And then that's when that happened. I was about like almost 19 when I moved to SF, like 18, 19 when I moved to San Francisco. And then that was like, obviously I had visited SF prior, like stayed with Craig. I remember staying with Danny like early on before he moved to Miami with him, and I think he might have been living with Telch, or I can't remember, but I know he was on Van Ness. And I remember that was like my first, like, I was in the Mission the whole time. Okay. Most of the time I was living in SF, like all 13 years or however long I was there together total, I was like in the Mission like most of the time, which was awesome. But then, I broke it up, moved to New York and stuff. But yeah, growing up in Miami was like basically like was a really nice, really hot, obviously. But I didn't know. I didn't know any other, you know, climate.
Any different.
I only knew, I only knew jungle weather.
Yeah, exactly. I think I have a quick second question from kind of on the same topic from Danny.
Oh yeah, like moving back to Miami from San Francisco, living in SF, moving to Brooklyn for 4 or 5 years, which, I mean, my skateboarding developed in the best way possible, I think, moving to these places. You know, I learned how to go fast and go down a hill and think quickly and
adapt to the terrain, kind of.
Yeah, and you know, I adapted well. I think, like I naturally I love bombing a hill. Like bombing a hill was, I remember just those first like couple years in SF was, I felt like I had brought a good chunk of Florida with me too during that move. Because Lucian Moon at the time, he was living on 17th and Bryant, and Lucian and I kind of swapped places. He's like, hey, I want to move to Miami for a bit. You want to take
his room
art with my ex at the time. And I took his whole, like, pretty much apartment, which I was rooming with Zach Gonzalez at the time. And I think Nick Matlin might have been living there at some point for a while. But really, like, it was just me and Zach. And then I remember inviting, like, Ryan Garshell, Yanni, Brian Downey, A-Bear. I remember a good chunk of, like, Florida and, like, A-Bear was living downstairs in the living room. Like, at one point, Downey had, like, a cardboard house that he made in the corner of the, like, apartment downstairs.
Okay.
And, like, A-Bear was living underneath the counter of the kitchen table and had, like, his little, like, cot set up, and like Ben Gore was on the floor in the living room with like Ryan, and like it was just bodies sprawled out. And you know, I told my partner at the time, like this is, we have our little loft up here, but like when you go downstairs, like this is what's gonna, this is how it's gonna be. Like,
close your
it's
eyes.
A skate house. Close your eyes. It's a skate house. Like, there's gonna be underage drinking, and like, and mostly we were just smoking a lot of weed, if anything. Like, I don't think any of us really got into drinking till like way later. You know, I mean, we'd go to like D Block, you know, on the weekends, but like I don't know, I don't remember getting into drinking till I moved to New York, really. But anyway, yeah, like San Francisco, I remember those like first few years was like Ben rode for Satori, Downey rode for Satori, Downey was on Yellow Brand. Like it was just kind of like we all ride for this same company. Ryan like was living here, like moved here from Florida, you know, for a little bit, and we kind of had our like thing going on for a bit, which was super it was like Neverland, you know. Like I felt like a lost boy, you know, like you know, I don't ever want to grow up, which
a lot of skaters are have that syndrome, I guess.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of that still like lives within me. You know, obviously it's different, but like there's still light there. There's still that little giddy, you know, it shines through sometimes. Yeah, but during that time it was like on like 1000 with everyone, you know, and just like, whoa, like new spots, hills, a whole new way of skating, a whole new, you know. And then like Thrasher was there, and Tony, and you know, Venture and Deluxe, and like all of these. It's just a lot of history, and I latched on to all of that quickly. And you know, watching old like videos, like old anti-hero videos, and watching Julian Stranger, how he navigated, and Tommy Guerrero, how they skated through stereo days too, like a visual sound, like watching that stuff, like was Penal Code, like a lot of FTC videos, like fuck, man.
There's so much history in this.
So much history, yeah, dude. So I was just, I kind of just submerged myself in that culture, and I really, really, still to this day, like, you know, I'm a part of it, and I love it, and miss it so much. So I was there for a while, I think like 2006, end of 06 or something like that, to about almost end of 09. I was in San Francisco, and then my partner was like, hey, my parents are moving back to Brooklyn. My partner at the time, she was like, you want to try it out? I was like, yeah, I've always wanted to move to New York. So it was just, again, just kind of flowing, floating downstream, like, yeah, why not? If I don't like it, I can always move back to San Francisco. Like, this is, I've already, like, I've been here for almost, like, you know, 4 years. Like, you know, I've developed, like,
solid network, or yeah.
Yeah, and during that time in SF, like I had moved over to Think already. I was writing for Street Corner.
Okay.
So I kind of had like developed that relationship with like Tony, and like I asked him like, hey, and he's like, yeah, dude, do it. Like, we're here, we got you, you know. And Shrugi and Joey Terche were starting Ace like early on, and I was like kind of their like, you know, first dude, and I was like, yeah, dude, I'm super down. Because I followed Terche around at a very early age, because I had gone with him to Jamaica when I was 17.
Okay.
For this movie, Surf Rasta, and they needed extras, and Craig invited me.
Okay.
Super random, like, little segue. I've never seen this movie or this, like, short film. I don't even know if it got made. But it was kind of like, I was in, like, 11th grade at the time, and I remember, like, that's where I first met Joey.
Okay.
You know, and like, got to hang out with him. And so fast forward, moved to San Francisco. He and I ended up becoming neighbors with Shrugi. Him and Shrugi lived together. And I lived, like, literally a block away from him. So I'd go over and, like, drink some tea with them and, like, just kind of start my days off there for a while. But this was the second place I lived in. After Lucian and after all that, like, I moved to, like, 1102 York Street. We called it the Puppy Pound.
Okay.
Because we, my old roommate, Jacob Steinfurt, who's a filmer and, you know, a good friend of mine, and he and I got this dog, Ella, you know, and a pit bull, red-nosed pit, and the neighbor just kind of gave it to us. Like, hey, you want a dog? And, you know,
Sure.
he and I are young, and I, you know, at the time I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Like, didn't think about this, like, you know, possible, like, 15-year, like, commitment. Yeah. And thankfully, like, she had a great life, and she ended up living with, like, Jacob's parents, you know, and Jacob took care of her, and, you know, such a rad dog, and, like, you know, rad dude, like, dear friend of mine. But yeah, so I lived there for a while, and was neighbors with Shrugi, and he started Ace, and I basically, like, asked my sponsors, like, hey, is this a good move? Like, should I do this? And they were like, yeah, dude, like, do this. So, like, did that, went to New York, and immediately was like, holy shit.
Yeah. Change of scenery,
change of pace, new spots, new energy. Like, already knew, like, people there. Like, I had Zach Kowalski come stay with me in SF for a while, and he was a photographer for Slap for a bit.
Okay.
And I had already known, you know, Dobbin Block dudes for, like, you know, since I was a teenager. So it was like, cool. You know, I'll end up at Brooklyn. I can, like, skate with Kato and Frank House and Josh Dowd and people that were from Florida or Ohio, and they were living in Brooklyn at the time. Knew Marion and Josh Stewart, and, like, so it wasn't like, oh, I don't know anyone here. Like, it was like, oh, I'm, you know.
You were already kind of plugged into the scene, yeah.
Yeah, I have a community here, and I can, like, kind of jump around and hop from, like, different places. If I'm in this. So when I went to the city, to Manhattan, I had, like, Brooklyn was, like, community there, and I didn't know really Manhattan too well. But Zalpha, like, introduced me to Rob Harris, who introduced me to, like, Jake Johnson. They were living together at the time, you know.
Yeah, because that's around the time of Minefield, isn't it? You said 2009 is when you first went to New York?
Yeah. And when I had met Jake, it was, like, right before Minefield came out, but I already knew who he was, and it was, like, a brief introduction, and our relationship grew more later on in life. Or GX stuff before
also,
that.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But, yeah, so it was 2009, and met them, and Salfo was just kind of, like, showing me the ropes, and that was, like, the beginning of, like, my Tompkin days, you know, and, like, Autumn was right there, skate shop. And, yeah, I remember I just kind of, to my ex-girlfriend at the time, I was like, okay, cool, you got a job, you're going to work. I hadn't found a job yet. Like, we were paying, like, the rent was so cheap at the time, so I was able to, like, live off of whatever little skate money that I was making at the time, which wasn't much, like a couple $100, and I was able to pay rent and then live off a couple $100.
Wow.
You know.
That's crazy. In New York?
Yeah, 2 bros, dude, and dollar slices, and, like...
Yeah.
Like, I remember Chase and Jeb working at the, you know, 9th Street Espresso, and, like, can just get coffees. Like, there was always this, like, if you know where to go you can live off of like nothing at the time. Going to Punjabi and getting like great Indian food for like $3, and then I'm full for the day. Like, oh my God. So that was kind of the beginning of my like Tompkin days, you know, going to the Green Diamond and like spending time with Rob and hanging out with Zalfa and shooting photos and filming and meeting Joe Bressler and Brandon Bramhall, you know, hanging out with them a bunch and going out with Joe a ton. And that was like kind of the start of like
filming for Welcome to MIA.
Yeah, and that's kind of what turned into like that whole project.
Right.
I remember I had been sitting on some stuff prior from SF with like Justin Carlson a little bit here and there, but I really like got into a groove when I moved to New York filming for that project. But I didn't even know what I was filming for.
Oh yeah?
It wasn't until like the last year filming for Welcome to MIA that Joe asked if I wanted to be a part of it, really.
Okay.
And I was like, well, I haven't lived in Miami in like 5 years at this point.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
But I maybe have filmed like 2 clips, Miami clips.
Yeah. A lot of the parties in SF and New York. Right?
And New York, yeah. But he was living in New York at the time, too. So he was like, well, let me see like what you got. And I kind of just sent him like some SF stuff and then what I've gotten with Joe so far. And he was like, yeah, like we want you to have a part in this. I'm like, okay, cool. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I didn't really know. I had about like 2.5 minutes of Joe Bressler footage that was just like us just filming for nothing. And it was so nice. Like I remember like we were just like, you know, going out and just, I have this idea, like, let's go here.
Yeah, it was very authentic.
Very much so. And I had no like obligations, no responsibilities.
Yeah.
It was full blown like just little skate
for
rat.
yourselves, yeah. For the pleasure of it.
Pleasure, yeah. Like it was great. It was very pure and...
That's a great part. I just rewatched it yesterday, and it's still amazing.
Thanks, man. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, I worked my ass off.
Yeah,
you know, during
well, it
that.
shows.
You know, and a lot of that like energy was, you know, at the time like my ex, like she broke up with me. You know, like early on, like living in New York because you know I got caught up in the scene there, like going out, like going to Enid's at like midnight. You know, like being a 22-year-old like kid and just getting sucked into the scene there. And she was just like, hello, like, where are you going? I'm like, oh no, it's cool, I'm gonna meet my buddy Dustin at Enid's, like, you know, like, see ya. She's like, hello, like, what, where you going? I'm like, oh shit, I'm blowing it. You live and learn, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, a couple months went by and she was like, you know, we broke up and then I actually learned how to live alone in New York. Because during that whole time I was in SF, I had like a partner, you know, and it was a great place to learn how to like be on your own. You had winters, you know, seasons, and there were times of like, you know, I was depressed, but it was more like I'm just gonna focus all my energy into skating. You know, and I would remember like winter days or I'd go out with Joe Bressler like with gloves and like trying to like backsmith this bump to bar in like this 30-degree weather. And I remember the first year I was like going out to this bar. I might have been going to Enid's with like Rob Harris. We got off like the L train and we're walking through McCarran and it's like a blizzard, dude. It's snowing so much. And I grew up in Florida. Like, I've never seen so much snow in my life. Yeah. You know, and I was so excited and I'm like walking through this snow like wearing tennis shoes and like fucking just like
what the hell is this? Yeah,
what the hell is this? And he's like sees me all excited and he goes, watch, dude, wait, just give it a week, this is all gonna turn into slush, you're gonna be so bummed.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, he wasn't wrong. It took longer than a week though. I remember just that whole first winter I was just excited.
Yeah,
like,
it was
still
all
skating
new and
yeah, skating through the like 30-degree days and like just excited, and my body was like letting me do that, you know, like I didn't have arthritis in my ankles or my knees at the time, so I was just like, oh yeah, this is fun. But the next year was a different story. Like I was like, I'm not skating once it gets below like low 40s, like 30s, like I'm good.
Yeah, that's
but yeah, so yeah, New York did that for a few years, like 4 years, 2009, 2010, and then the part came out in 2010.
Yeah, that's kind of what puts you on most people's radars, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, and I had like parts before that. I had like a ton of parts before that. Like it was like season parts. What else? West Side Skate Shop wasn't parts, but like was in their clips. Videos, and then clips, and then the Search the Horizon. And
when did you get on Habitat in the middle of all this? Like you mentioned, you started with Satori, and then
Creation, and then Think. And then, Think was... I was living in New York at the time, and then The Part came out in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like... I think I was like going on a camping trip with my buddy Bosco, Jeb, Chase, and Rob. And I remember it vividly. I was in the car with them, and I got a phone call from Brennan. And I knew Brennan
Conroy,
before.
Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just, living in the city in SF, and like... So he just called me, and I was like, yo, what up, dude? And he's just like, hey, like, was calling me about The Part and asked if I wanted to ride for Habitat. And, I've been on Converse for so long, for a few years by then. And, the deal was like, hey, if you want to get on Habitat, you got to ride for Habitat footwear.
Oh, that's right. They were doing that at the time. Yeah.
The shoes, and I was like, damn, I think Converse is like about to put me on. Like, damn it.
Yeah.
And then, then that happened. Obviously, like, like I love thinking, like, and all, but like I knew.
Yeah, Habitat is a great brand.
I've been wanting to be a part of that since I was a kid, since Photosynthesis, since Mosaic.
Yeah.
Since Danny Renaud's Part. I was like being from Florida and seeing the, like, how, I don't know, it felt right.
Yeah, it resonated with you.
Yeah, just Ohio, Florida, like there's always been this like connection. Ohio, Florida connection. But so I was like, I'm super down, and like got off the phone and
called Converse.
I'll call Converse later. But I called John Coulthard. I was like, hey, he's like, oh dude, we're gonna put you on. But I call him like years later, and we'll get into that, I'm sure. But
how long was the Habitat shoes footwear program? That was short-lived, wasn't it?
Dude, it was so short-lived. It was like 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years.
And it was like under Burton. Like Burton was like running it for a while, and it was great. They were great shoes, and I traveled a lot and made okay money as like a amateur skater because of Burton, and it's just, again, a different time back then. And it was great. I was working at this vegan restaurant at the time at Snice.
Oh yeah.
Was working with a bunch of skaters, and it was a great job. And honestly, I should have just kept working there once I started getting like a little bit more money. Again, live and learn. Like I should have just kind of kept that going until they like closed shop. But so I got on. Brennan was like, hey, we'll just film this part. We'll give you 2 years to film this part, because I told him like Think was going to give me a board, and he was like, look, we'll give you a board, and if you film this part in 2 years. So I traveled quite a bit with like Austin for his like unlimited part, joined him on that, and then Mark, Suchu, and Silas, just like kind of those days. And Timo was still on, and Carrie was still on. Like I remember those like early, like the first year I got on, I was like really stoked, because it was like I was riding a Carrie Getz board, I was riding a Tim O'Connor board, like I was like Danny Garcia.
I
was like
OG Habitat squad was still somewhat there.
Fred Galt, some of them was still there, and I was like, Danny
Garcia, was he still there?
Yeah, I think so, because he was still riding like the footwear, and like Guru was on for a little bit too. Guru and I was like, wow, and like Marius and Daryl, and like I think he might have been on. Al was on already, of course.
Okay,
he had that amazing part. One of my favorite parts of his, like his introduction to Habitat part. He's like wearing Adidas, and like, dude, such a great video part.
He's amazing.
And dude, like, so he was on, so I was just kind of like, yes, dude, like, this is sick. So I started traveling for that, and then like Search the Horizon kind of started being talked about, with like Mark and I kind of having like parts in it, and like giving us boards at the same time, and then I got to travel with Mark quite a bit when he was like, we were both very young, but Mark was like really young.
He's a few years younger than you, right? Like he's more in his early 30s?
Yeah.
Maybe 33, around there?
Yeah, he's in his early 30s. But at the time, I was in like my mid-20s, and he was like 18 or 19. You know, he was still like a kid. You know, like you know, couldn't drink.
Not yet. Yeah.
In the States, at least.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, and I got to know him, you know, in Austin real well, and yeah, crazy. And I, you know, and they're all like, wow, dude. I remember going on trips with Mark. I was just like, okay.
Yeah. Such a beast.
He's just such a like talented like skateboarder, and like, you know, and I'm just kind of like just doing my thing, whatever that is.
Yeah, it's great. I love it as well. But yeah, Mark is in a league of his own, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like just different. It's just different. And which was like so amazing to like watch and be a part of. And still to this day, whenever I go on trips with him, I'm like, you know, like, okay, you got it,
sit down and enjoy the show.
Yeah, you got it. Or unless it's something that I'm like, you know, really into, and he'll get sparked too, and like he'll get me hyped. But yeah, so then that happened, and I was still in New York. Kind of was still in contact with Ryan Garshell.
Yep.
You know, because he was still living in SF, and I'd go to SF and stay with him when I was living in New York and spend some time there, and like when he was living in the TL, and it was like almost I never really lost touch or lost a connection with San Francisco. I would visit frequently. I was like back and forth like all the time. And then Ryan too, and then Ryan would come and stay with me in New York when I had my own place. Thankfully, you know how that happened. Again, dude, like skateboarding, what an amazing thing to be a part of. Like everything I ever crossed paths with, from getting an apartment to getting a job to everything in my life, was through skating.
Yeah.
So amazing.
Yeah.
Like, so when I moved to New York, my partner broke up with me. I was like kind of like squatting at this apartment with my buddy Dustin, and you know, he got his own spot. And then Matt Canner, full circle, he's living in Brooklyn with his ex, and he's like, hey, we have an extra room, you know, you can move in with us for, you know, however long you need to. And I started paying him rent, which whatever was a couple $100, and I was like, oh my god, I'm living with Matt and Nicole, who, you know, they'd let me stay at Control Skate Park. We had sleepovers, and they'd let me stay at back in the day when I was like a kid. So it was like, oh, family's here. Like, this is family. Matt Canner's family. So it was like, wow, that's interesting how that worked out, like full circle. Like, you're here, I'm here, we're hanging out. You're working at Homage in Brooklyn, skateboarding. Such a beautiful thing. And so then something fell through with his apartment. I kind of started like hanging out with Curtis Rapp a bunch, because they lived like blocks away. They lived like on Green and Nostrand, and I was on Marcy and like Hart Street. So it was like, you know, in Bed-Stuy. It was like, I was super close. I was blocks away. So I would go over and hang out with him and Nick Langley, Damon, and people that like, now they live up in Albany, like Albany heads that, you know, run Season. And so they moved out, and they had a room opening up, and I was like, hey, like, if you can get me in here, dude, I'd be so grateful. And he's like, yeah, like, I'll keep you in mind. So then that happened. So then I moved to 512 Green, and that was like the beginning of like a whole new chapter. You know, new chapter. Like, homies would come and visit, they'd stay with us. It was like Curtis Rapp built out the bar, and we had like it was a 4-bedroom loft of an apartment. It was massive, you know, and we were paying like nothing. Like, landlord lived at the bottom floor, we lived at the top. Man, those were like some amazing like times, like, you know, early to mid 20s. Like, those were really fond memories. I learned a lot. Yeah, a lot of good memories in that apartment, man. Like, and that apartment's still going to this day. Crazy. Full circle. Like, Aaron's still in there, and then Richie Zuzak, again, another Florida head, like, that ended up he's living in my room still.
Wow.
My old room.
That's crazy. Wow.
So yeah, like, that apartment's still going. So yeah, I lived there for a while, and
you're going back and forth between SF and New York?
Yeah, and people would come and like live with me, stay with me for a while, Ryan, like some other heads. And then I moved in with my ex, this other girl that I started dating, in like East Brooklyn for a while, which was like a whole nother, like Bed-Stuy in East Brooklyn. It was like completely different. A very interesting experience. You know, I'm glad I did it. And then it kind of led me to like the last leg of like where I lived the rest of like my time in New York, which was in Queens and Ridgewood with Brendan Carroll and Brian Clark. And then that was like, hell yeah, we got like our own spot. And they were homies with all of my homies. So like Ryan can come through with like all these other homies and stay with us. And then that was kind of like the start of like GX stuff happening. And like they'd already been like filming episodes in SF. And I'd,
chime in
go
whenever
there,
you were there.
And chime in whenever I was there and try to get a couple clips for those episodes. And then I think it was like the last year I was in New York, I had tried to sober up because I was like really going through some like alcohol and like substance abuse issues. I think on like the third year I was like really going in. Like Aaron Herrington, he and I were like roommates. He was really young at the time too. He rolled his ankle really bad and I was like, look, don't go back to SF. You should stay here. Like, this is a good place for you. This is gonna like help your skating. And he just ended up squatting at Matt Canner's old apartment for like a month. And I told him like, look, just stay there, squat there for a bit. I'm gonna see if I can get you in here with Curtis and Langley and I.
Okay.
So another room opened up and was like, yo, come meet the roommates, or come meet like Curtis and Nick. And like, and I just told him like, this dude's like, he's solid, good roommate. And yeah, and then I got Aaron into like living there for like, he's still there basically, he's back and forth Portland. Yeah. And he's been there for like the longest basically.
Wow.
So yeah, Aaron got in there and then, we got him a job at Snice, and then that was like, he was set. And so yeah, Aaron and I were kind of like thick as thieves for a little bit, going out, partying, drinking, and like, just kind of going nuts. I remember it was like a summer where he and I were like, we went in with like substance, dude. Like so like where like my buddy Rob was like, hey, I think hey, reel it in a little. Like you're
slow down.
I had buddies from London coming through, like, PWBC homies were coming, like Edson and Lucian and Rory and Lev, and that was like beginning Chewy, and that was kind of the beginning of like me meeting them before Palace was Palace.
Yeah.
And we would just go out with them, and like I remember like New York was like opened that up, that whole world up. So yeah, I was there and then was like kind of going through it, but it was weird because I was skating and producing. And it was just kind of the classic, like, I remember, Reynolds talking about this in one of his, like, interviews. Like, if I film a trick, then, I can reward myself.
Yeah, and party for a couple days.
And party for a bit. And then, like, all right, I'm going to go and do this on, like, Saturday. So I'm just going to, like, get fucked up and, like, party and then go to Tompkins and, like, skate and keep the blade sharp, but, like, go and do this. And I'd go and do it. Like I was, I was youthful. I had the energy to do it, and so I didn't think there was a problem until I started like mentally. I started getting like, I started getting fucked up. Like in my head, I started feeling like really depressed.
Anxiety.
Yeah, fully, all of it, the whole thing. I was like, what's wrong with me? Like, and then I remember it vividly. I was at this bar. I think it might have been like Midway Bar or something, and it was kind of like Halloween time. And I was with my buddy Yaje. I was telling him how I was feeling, and I was like, I'm done drinking. Like, fuck this. I'm over it. And he was like, hey, you should come to this, take some ayahuasca with me and my mom and I in New Jersey, and in Edison, New Jersey.
Yeah.
And this...
I heard you talk about this on the Living Proof podcast, which was called Angel and Z before, right?
Yeah, Angel and Z, yeah, Living Proof, yup. And so then that happened.
It's pretty funny that of all places you did it there, yeah.
Random. Usually people go to the Amazon or like go to some retreat, but I had like done research about it and like was reading these books on like Eastern mysticism and like these philosophers and Terence McKenna and Alan Watts and Ram Dass and all these like great minds and these psychedelic minds, Aldous Huxley, and really submerged myself into that whole world. Yeah. And, I was dabbling in psychedelics for years, but never really was like, it was more like recreational. Like I'd go camping. There were some times where I'd go camping, take mushrooms and be like in awe, But mostly it would be like, take acid at some party in SF or like whatever, I didn't treat it as medicine. And then, and then I looked this ayahuasca, what it was all about, and was like, and then Yaje kind of guided me And, you know, and his mom, she practices this religion, or no, practices, I don't know if she still does, the Daime, Sancta Daime. And it's a Brazilian, you know, religion, and they drink ayahuasca and they chant.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, okay, I don't know if I'm going to chant, you know, for too long. But, like, yeah, I went in there with, like, an open mind and, like, just kind of to submit and just give into this, like, medicine just to see what happens. And it just kind of flipped my whole world upside down in the best way possible. And yeah, I stopped drinking for a while and was living in Ridgewood and was just on this like super high, like this ayahuasca high of like more love, more compassion. Yeah, crazy. And like that lasted months.
What year was that? Do you remember what year it was, the ayahuasca?
Yeah, so the first was like the end of 2013 and the beginning of 2014. And that's when I really like dove into that and, you know, just kind of was starting to like let go of stuff and, you know, was having relationship problems and then realized like, oh, okay, like the only thing I can do right now is work on me. Yeah. And by working on myself, I can maybe help out my like partner, you know, whether or not she wants to like help herself out at the time, you know. I learned that at that time, like everyone's going the same way, but everyone's moving at different speeds.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, and some people are getting to like where they want to get to quicker than others. You know, and this kind of expedited my whole like what I was feeling at the time, and it helped me learn how to deal with my situation in the home front. You know, whether it was with my family at home or with my partner and our relationship, which, you know, lasted a couple months right after all of that. And then when it ended, I remember it ended like really, it wasn't even bad. And she, you know, she had done something to me that in like a relationship, it's like, man, you like fucked up. And usually like the person would like flip out on their partner and kind of be like, you know, like, fuck you. Like, why would you, I can't believe you did this to me. But at that time, I was just so on this like non-attachment. I was so detached from like, I don't own you and I can't make you love me. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So so at that time I was like, okay, you did this and I forgive you, but like you need to move out. Like, yeah, it's okay, but you know, next time you're with someone, I hope you don't do this to them. Like, but I didn't want to give her what she's probably been getting, patterns, because it's all patterns, what she's been getting her whole life, probably. Yeah. So that was like, I remember that being kind of the whole like, oh my God, so this is what this feels like. Not overreacting and not having this like, how could you do this to me? Yeah. You know, you're my girlfriend, my thing.
Not making it all about you and kind of putting your ego aside.
Yeah, exactly. And it, you know, like, you're not doing this to me, you're doing this to yourself. You're creating your own like suffering. And all I can do is continue working on me. So honestly, like, that was kind of like the best thing that ever happened to me. Because that like launched me into this like, you know, I was traveling a lot more and I was connecting with people on a completely different level where I wasn't like drinking, I was actually present, you know, and that was like my first summer in Europe, like properly. Okay. Like was there. It wasn't just like this 2-week trip and then I'm back home or like whatever. I was there for like 3 months. Oh wow. Okay. And, you know, got to meet like Kevin and Ben Chardon and Manu and like all of like my, you know, French homies, guys, kind of. Yeah, Polar. Yeah, but before all of that, there was Polar actually, and Yalta came, and I have photos that like I developed a few years ago that I've been sitting on of like just that trip from 2014. I'm like, wow, crazy. That's cool. But yeah, like, but I remember meeting, you know, Sarah and like going out with her and like meeting her friends and then connecting, going to Finland a lot, just kind of connecting with people on like, I wasn't only there to skate. Yeah. I remember thinking like, not that I didn't care about footage, but I was there mainly to like, I wanted to connect with people. Yeah. Have a more fuller experience than just going there for skating. I was kind of like getting jaded on the whole like just traveling to like these places and just like skating and then that's it. And then following the herd, following the crew that's there for skating, as opposed to like, I want to submerge myself into this culture and I want to like hang out with Kevin or Ben and like kind of see their day to day and like and do that, or like fall in love with like a Parisian girl, you know, for a little bit and like live that life for a bit, and then go to like Berlin and hang out with my homie Tiak and like live with him for a little bit, and go to London and like meet up with all my like Palace homies, and like really did that. And like that whole trip, that was like the beginning of a lot of things. And I'd say 2014 was like a really pivotal
foundational year for you.
Yeah, oh absolutely. It helped me become the person I am like today, for sure. But I mean, that first question, that was a good first question, like Danny, because there's a lot to that.
Yeah,
you know, getting back to California and even Sacramento, like, dude, this is a whole. That question is like,
there's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, dude, that's like my whole, like, basically my whole life.
Yeah, exactly.
Thus far. But yeah, man, I remember like that trip being or that year being really like powerful.
All right, let's see. I have one from Jake Rupp. So let's see, he said, Dela, I remember the Satori team stayed at a little apartment you were in South Beach. It was tiny and we all slept shoulder to shoulder, basically on the floor, like 15 years ago. It was awesome. You showed us the bomb Cuban spots. How long were you there before moving to SF? You lived with Lucian in SF, and I can't remember who else. Madeline, maybe? Epic Adventures.
Yeah. So I had a little studio apartment right on 8th and Meridian. And this was when I was working at MIA Skate Shop. And Ed Salego was living right above the skate shop pretty much. And yeah, I'd have people sleep on my floor. My partner at the time was in and out, traveling with her mom a lot. So there would be like weeks or like a month where she'd be gone. And I just, would have buddies come from Tampa or from Maryland, and just kind of like, hey, if you need a place to crash, I got a floor, I got a couch. I'm here alone. And that's how that kind of came to be. And I remember thinking because Rupp is one of my favorite skaters and dudes, and I remember thinking my 13, 14-year-old self, because I grew up watching Static, the Static part. And I remember thinking when he was staying on the floor, I was like, hell yeah, Jake Rupp's here. We're going to go and skate tomorrow. I'm going to take him to some good restaurants. But yeah, we'll go to Porta Sagua, or we'll go to Las Olas. We'll go to some really, staple South Beach joints to eat some good Cuban food. And just skate and hang out and go down to the Colombian apartment, and all the Colombians would live there, and those are all the homies. And we had some skaters living there, and yeah, man, that was really good times for sure. Good days, yeah, man.
How long were you in that apartment for? Do you remember?
Shit, yeah, a little less than a year. It was maybe about almost a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was right before you moved to SF, or around that time?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was it was around that time. Yeah, Rupp.
Then I have a question from Lucian Moon. So he asked a couple things. I'll just read you what he sent me. He said, what happened with Craig and Satori when you quit Creation for Habitat? And then how did you get on the second time? And wasn't your teammate, Silas, Baxter, Neal, going to get on Satori right before he got Sodi? Why did he not get on?
I don't know about the Silas and Satori thing, but actually it wasn't Habitat. It was Think.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we talked about it earlier, yeah.
Yeah, so I, was writing for Craig's companies, pretty much all my eggs in one basket. I was except for shoes, high grade head to toe. Mm-hmm. I loved it. I loved everything that distribution represented. All the brands I was writing for, I supported it. Mm-hmm. Eco-friendly, and all my friends at the time were writing for them. Mm-hmm. We had such a rad team. And then I was living in SF for a couple years. I think it was maybe my second year. Tony's running Street Corner, and he was like, hey, what's up? I remember him calling me. He's like, do you want to ride for Think? And I was like, interesting. Yeah. And then I've known about Think for years, and then I was like, whoa, Fuenzalida rides for Think, and I've known Danny, and I was like, wow, this is great. We can travel together. And then I saw the team at the time. I was Adrian Williams. I was like, oh man, this
exciting.
Team is it was exciting. It was new. And then I was okay, I'll ask him, because at the time I wanted to still represent the wheels. I just didn't want to have all my eggs in one basket anymore.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to like spread my wings a bit. And I got this offer, and I was like, hey, like, I'm gonna ride for Think, dude, but I still want to ride for Satori. Like, I still want to ride for the wheels. And, you know, Craig, unfortunately, wasn't having it. And I was like, all right, dude, all good. No hard feelings, you know. And that was that for a long time. Shit, a decade or more.
Yeah. Because then, Lucian asked how you got on the second time, so...
Yeah, so I got on, like, the second time... Actually, there was 2 times, or 3 times. So it was the first time, and then the second time, I got offered, and I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm riding for OJ. I got things going on. And then the third time, Carl Watson hit me up.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, I respect Carl, like, you know, I respect him a lot. And I love Carl's skating, and you know, he's the best.
Yeah.
And he basically approached me and was like, look, I'm doing this, and I'm involved. You know, and I want to know if you want to be involved. And at the time I was probably like 33. So I was like, all right, well, if I do this, I kind of want to like work my way into, I want to learn how to, you know, be in the industry, you know, whether like TM and Bobby Boyd was running sales at the time too. And I've known Bobby Boyd since I was a teenager, since I was, you know, Atlanta, that whole connection for a while. And I was like, all right, so it's you and Bobby and Craig. Like, yeah, I want to be involved, you know, more involved than just as a rider. I want to, you know, help out with like art direction and wheels and like, and all of that. So the first year was great, actually. Like, got on and we started doing, you know, Mike Manzeri made this like little edit in SF that we made together, this little cruiser thing. And I was like, wow, there's like a lot of good traction. It felt like kind of old Satori days. Kind of what I was like envisioning when I got back on. And then it kind of like started going nowhere, you know, like nothing was happening, no trips. And then I became TM for a while.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was like doing TM stuff for a little bit for them. And then I was kind of ready to kind of get the phone call like for budget. And I asked him about a budget, and he's like, we can't do it right now, we don't have enough money. I'm like, okay, all good. You know, because I was hoping to plan trips and kind of get my feet wet in that department.
Yeah,
you know, booking flights, booking hotels, like doing TM stuff. So I did that for about a year, but nothing happened. So I was like, all right, well, what are we doing? It kind of just fell through, honestly. Again, no hard feelings. It just was like, all right, well, this is just stagnant, and we're just here.
Yeah.
And I'm good, you know. I'm going to just remove myself quietly. I thanked him. I was like, hey, like, thanks, but I'm good. Like, no hard feelings. All the best to you in the future. And, like, told Craig that, you know. I called Carl, called Bobby. I was like, yeah, I'm out. No hard feelings. And then, yeah, that was that. It was something that I thought we can, like, maybe respark. And we did for, you know, a second, but all good.
Yeah. No, it was still a good experience. But, yeah, even though it ended, yeah.
Yeah, no hard feelings. Now I'm just, Spitfire is great. And... you know, I'm kind of back on like a deluxe camp, and like, you know, SF is always home to me, so it's nice to have a little piece of that, like, and I can ride wheels, you know, that I'm like, you know, I'm stoked on again. And but yeah, no hard feelings. That was that.
Lucian also asked if you could tell Dave Aber. Did you say his name is Aber?
Yeah, Aber. Yep.
Yes. If you had a good story about him.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
Yes. Rest in peace. Yeah.
You know, that's my guy right there. Yeah, I have a lot of good stories about him. It's just, there's too many. His energies, first off, I remember going downstairs, and I mean, I think I might have mentioned this earlier, and, you know, I'd start making some breakfast. So, like I said, he was sleeping underneath a table.
Yeah, that's right.
But he'd have a blanket, like a drape.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
so you
around the table.
See him?
So you couldn't see in his, like, little... under the table.
Cupboard, yeah.
His little cupboard. So I remember I'd go down like almost every morning, and you'd know if he's still like in his little cupboard because it'd be like closed. You know?
Yeah.
And I'd go through and I'd look through, and most mornings he has his headphones and he's listening to music, and he just looks at me with his thumbs up, and he's like just smiling like ear to ear, like, yeah, like just so happy to be in SF, knowing like what our day was about. What was about to happen. Like,
it's a brand new day, let's go skating, or yeah.
And every day was a brand new day. And we'd always try to play this game, you know, to warm up. And that was to see who could manual the whole block. Because we lived on like 17th and Bryant, which was like, you'd have like a 3-stack, like it's pretty mellow 3-stack, you know, and we would just bomb the first stack and like try to manual it. And he's so good at manual, so he would just do it like first try, or like nose manual. Dude, he manualed, I think, like all 3 stacks one day, like just manualed it, like going like blazing, like hauling ass. And then yeah, I think he was the first to nose manual like just the top of it, the first stack. But man, just a lot of like just being kids, going out bombing. Yeah, I don't know, it's hard to like
isolate just one story, kind of.
You know, I remember coming back and him living in the TL, and he had this like apartment he was living in, and you can just climb his balcony or his like fire escape to get to his like room. And man, I forget what happened. I don't know if someone fell from there or like something happened, but I just remember spending like some times there, like just drinking and just like, and there was like no furniture. It was like it was just an apartment with like beds on the floor and just like drapes, like dividers or like sheets to like create as dividers. It was just like full skate house, like. But what else, man? Oh, going to Vancouver with him was like great. You know, going to Vermont with him showing us like where he grew up, you know, and like spending time in Burlington, St. Albans, and that's where he grew up, and all the, you know, spots that he grew up skating, and then going to not Vancouver. What am I talking about? Going to Montreal with him. Excuse me.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. And yeah, just spending time with him in Montreal, and dude, he killed it so hard on that trip. Dude, he always kind of like gets himself into like really sticky situations. Like he'll always end up like underneath a car or something, like bombing a hill or like, you know. But he's the best, man, and I miss him so much. Love him so much, and you know, I'm really sad he's gone. You know, he's with us here.
Yeah, exactly.
In our hearts, but
absolutely.
But yeah, man, just a lot of time, a lot of miles with him, you know. And unfortunately, like the last like couple years, I couldn't spend too much time with him. He was living in the hate house, you know. We were just kind of doing our thing, and I was living a different lifestyle than he was. Okay. You know, the last few years that he was here, and you know, it was like kind of hard to like go out with him and like just see, you know, he liked to drink, you know, and see the buddies he was hanging out with too. They like to drink too, and I wasn't really like drinking like that anymore. Yeah. Nah, not too much anymore. But you know, I tried to like get him, you know, at the end too. I was living in Alameda. I was trying to get him to like come to the courthouse, dude. Like half of these dudes are sober. You know, Shancho, like Jacob, you know, Steinfurth, like they're sober. I'm pretty much damn near sober. I'm not really drinking when I'm skating. Like, come on. But yeah, man, like A-Bear, dude, love you, bro.
Yeah, rest in peace. All right, so yeah, let's see. The next question I have is from Evan Smith.
Nice.
Fellow Floridian.
Yes.
So yeah, let's see. Evan asked to ask you about how you got the acid in the resurrection tomb and how he got it.
Oh, wow. Well, I think he might have gotten it at a Zoomies 100K. I can't remember how he got it. But I remember seeing him, and I told him the story. I'm like, you're going to want this, knowing Evan. Yeah. So that was our trip to Israel. And I think that was like one of my first like big Converse trips. And it was a really good crew. And we traveled around Israel too. We weren't just in like Tel Aviv. We went all around. We made it to Jerusalem. And obviously we're going to visit all of these like, you know, religious
places.
Iconic like places. Yeah, exactly. So we end up at the tomb of Jesus Christ. And, you know, right when you walk in, there's like this slab where people are like kneeling and like praying to it, because I guess that's where he was, you know, washed after he was like crucified and all that. Okay. But the place is relatively big. So we all kind of like split up, kind of did our thing. And Aaron and I, Herrington, we're like walking in these crypts. There's like these crypts you can go down, you know, down these stairs. So we're walking down, and Aaron is in front of me walking down, and he picks up a baggie. And I'm like, whoa, what'd you find? Cocaine? Ha ha ha. And he's like, no, dude. And he looks at it, he's like, dude, I think this is 8 hits of acid. And I'm like, holy shit, no way. And I'm like, let me see that. And it's 8 hits of acid. And you know how there's always, like, with paper acid tabs, there's always, like, some kind of art, you know, illustration on it, or, like, some, I don't know, something on it, like a bear or, like, a happy face. Or this one was, like, 2 angels touching each other's, like, fingers.
Okay.
So it was, like, just a whole, you know.
In
and
that
again,
place of all places, yeah. That's,
yeah, man. Yeah, so.
That's crazy.
So he finds it. I ask him, like, are you going to keep it? And he's like, no way, I don't want this. You know, like, Aaron's not big on psychedelics. Okay. So I was like, all right, well, can I have it? Like, let me have it. He's like, yeah, here you go. Like, cool, sick. So, like, we walk out of there, and I'm like, look, check it out. Like, Aaron found this, like, 8 hits of acid. And I was like, I'm going to take this. And they're like, what, right now? I'm like, no, I'm going to wait for the right time till like we have a day off, because I know we're gonna have like a day off where we're just gonna go and do something. And then the next day we happened to be going to the Dead Sea to go and float.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So we're like, oh, okay, perfect. This is a perfect time to try this acid. Float at the Dead Sea on acid. So the next day we're getting ready, but we're gonna stop at this like abandoned water park, and it's such a hot day. It's so hot to try and skate and like whatever, just to squeeze some skating in. And it was such a hot day. I mean, just being out there, you're in the desert. It's like really hot. So we didn't last too long there. But so we're on our way there. We stop at this gas station. Oh, actually, no. So right before we get to where we're going, we get in the van. I ask everyone in the van, like, all right, I'm going to take this. Does anyone want to try this? They're like, no way. Like, no way. Like, no. Like, all right, I'm going to take this. See you guys later. Like, you know, if I do anything weird, sorry. Don't worry. Don't mind me.
Yeah.
I love you all. You know, I'm on LSD.
Yeah.
So Dolan Stern, he's never taken LSD before. And he was on the trip. And, like, dude, he was killing it, man. Like, such a rad skater and, like, just such a rad dude. Like, Dolan's my boy, like, forever. And, you know, this, like, solidified that. He was like, all right, fuck it, I'll take some. You know, like, I have photos of us taking it, like, right before we get in the van, of us, like, with our tongues out, like, like, so we take it, and then I tell him, like, all right, dude, like, we're gonna float, man, and this is gonna be the most epic experience you'll probably ever have. Like, and he's like, yeah, I'm excited, you know. I don't know, like, I know homies that have taken acid, but I've never taken it before. I'm like, oh, you're gonna love it. So we take it. So we're driving to this gas station to gas up. And I guess at this gas station, there's this dude who has a camel who, you know, it's like a tourist attraction. And I felt bad at the time. I was like, God, we're all going to ride this camel, like, because we're probably not going to ride a camel here, like, whatever. So we get to this gas station, fill up, we get a snack. They're selling pizza there. It's super weird. And, you know, some of the dudes are, like, riding a camel, just, like, in this, like, parking lot or in this, like, little field. Okay. And I'm like, fuck it, dude. I'm going to get on the camel. So I get on this camel. I'm, like, drinking a Heineken. You know, I got my Jerusalem cruiser, like, my chanclas on. Like, you know, I'm basically, like, you know, got my shirt wrapped around my head. Like, just kind of, like, submerging myself into this, like, I'm here. I'm in the desert. Yeah, in the moment. And then the acid starts kicking in, and then I look at Dolan, and Dolan is like looking at me. He's filming me. I have this clip still on my phone, and he just cheers me, and he's just like, just riding the camel, like no big deal, like. And then Dolan gets on. I film him, and then, you know, we're just like, oh shit, it's starting, like, something's starting to happen. I'm like, do you feel anything? He's like, yeah, dude. Like, oh no, like, whoa. So we sit down at this, like, little food, like, court, and we're, like, there for, like, 30 minutes. And we get a pizza. And I remember looking at the pizza, and it's just melting in my hand. Okay. And I took a photo of it, and I was like, whoa, like, fully, like, you know, I'm tripping out. And we get back in the van. I'm like, I stay pretty quiet. We go to this abandoned water park, try to skate for a little bit. I'm like, it's too hot. Like, I'm not feeling this. Like, I'm just going to wait until the Dead Sea. So, yeah, Dolan and I, we get to the Dead Sea. And dude, at the time I was listening to a lot of Santo and Johnny. So I'm just I was listening to this Blue Hawaii album, and there's this song called Reflections, and I'm just listening to this song like on repeat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm staring at Jordan from across the Dead Sea, because you could see Jordan there. And I'm floating, and I just remember thinking to myself, if some like asteroid or like some natural disaster happened right now and it just wipes us all out, I remember being like really content.
Yeah.
And just being like I'm good. You know, I don't want that to happen, but like I'm good.
Yeah, if it happened, it wouldn't be a bad way to end things, or
Nah. It was kind of like I was like kind of at peace with the
universe.
Yeah, fully. And then I was looking around, and I was looking at Dolan, and then I was looking at all, Aaron and John and Lee and Mike and Louie and Ben. And I was like, and Al was there. I was like, dude, I just remember thinking like, dude, I love you guys so much. Like full blown having one of those like
emotional moments. Yeah.
Yeah. And, they were like, yeah, we fucking love you too, dude. But, I do remember, Ben remembers this story, Chardon.
Yeah.
Walking back to the van from the Dead Sea, I'm walking back with him, and I put on that song.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because I have it on my headphones, and I, like, have him listen to it. And he's like, whoa. Yeah, that was, like, my experience with that. And it was great. It was such a pleasant... It wasn't a bad trip at all. It was, like, really nice. And, I had those hits of acid last me, like, 2 years.
Oh, wow.
I put it in a book. I took it with me back home. And I would like microdose and take little slivets, like little pieces of it with a razor blade, and would just kind of microdose like here and there throughout those like couple years. And I remember I was going to Zumi's 100. There was like 2 years in a row where I went to Zumi's 100K and I brought it, because Zumi's 100K is like wild, And I wasn't really drinking a lot at the time, and I was like, oh, I'll just bring this. It's gonna take a little sliver of this, and. Ran into Evan there, and I was like, hey, this is for you. And he's like, what is this? And I'm like, this is the backstory to this, where I got this acid. And I think you would appreciate this story. And, there have been times where I've run into him in the future, or not in the future, in the past. Even like now, still to this day, I will like run into him, and we'll kind of have a laugh about it. But, like back then, I would like see him after like the experience, after Zumi's 100K, and he'd just come up to me and be like, Jesus acid!
It's crazy that you found it there. Yeah, I wonder how it ended up there. Like someone must have dropped it or something. Yeah.
I have no idea. I remember running into Jim Thiebaud at the airport, and Tony Vitello. We were on the same flight from SF, going to Zumi's 100K, and I explained to them, like, hey, I have some acid, you guys want a little? And they're like, no, we're good. And I remember walking around at the convention. It's like at this convention center, or like this thing in Keystone at the Zumi's 100K. And I remember running into Jim, and Jim stops, and he's like, wait, are you on the Jesus
acid?
Yeah. And because I told him the story, and he was just, and I was like, oh yeah. And he just gave me a big hug, and I was like, fucking love you, dude. But amazing. Yeah, man, that was like, just what are the odds? Like But yeah, that was like a really good find. Thanks, Aaron.
Okay, let's do this next one. It's another audio one.
Yeah, De La. Wanted to ask you a question for the interview. I know we traveled all over the world together with Habitat skateboards and Habitat footwear back in the day, but wanted to ask you the question of your experiences in Finland. What are some of your favorite memories of visiting Finland and skating here and the vibe? Yeah. Ow!
Keep this. Yeah, Marius.
Yes, Marius Syvanen.
Yeah, man. My brother. Wow. Finland is very special. Very special place. And yeah, I spent some time there. I was going there almost every summer for 4 years. Yeah, had some of the best summers there. Hanging out with Marius and meeting all the locals and skating with them. And I think some of the best experiences I've had there were going to Marius's cabin a little outside of Helsinki.
Okay.
I mean, obviously there was like so many good experiences, like the all-night party at the insane asylum with Simo and Marius, and watching the sun come up that never really fully goes down.
Yeah.
You know, in the summer, and, you know, getting to experience that, skating all these amazing spots, and going to Beef, this bar there, and like meeting like all these amazing, you know, people, and like just like good vibes, you know, just really good vibes, and, you know, everyone's on high in the summer there, you know, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So you just kind of like thrown into this like
energy,
you know, and this crazy energy, like a waterfall of energy, like whoa, like yes, okay, this is amazing. But really, like when you get to like leave the city and go to like Marius's cabin, you can really like you go fishing off the dock, hit the sauna, plunge into the water, just really take a load off, and you're in the woods, you're in the middle of nowhere. And I have a lot of really good moments of just like, just kind of like one of those like moments I had at the Dead Sea.
Oh yeah.
You know, real tranquil and just kind of like
introspective.
Yeah, very much so. You know, and just being there with Marius, you know, like he's the best. So that was like, I'd say that those are like some of the best memories. I like going to his cabin, you know, and also just the whole like, again, just summer in Finland, man. I want to go back next summer. Like I haven't been there in like a few years, like in a long time. I think since like 2018, 2017.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Yeah,
it's been a while. And
with COVID, it was you couldn't go there for a couple years. Or...
But yeah, they would have I went there because they would do the Helsinki hookup at the time, and you know that just got a bunch of like pro skaters from all over, and basically it would just be like skating with homies and like skating with locals, you know. Enes, you know, got to meet Enes like.
Oh yeah, Faziov, yeah.
Yeah, man,
yeah,
like 10
amazing.
years ago, and he's amazing, and but like good dude too, like a lot of great people that I met there that I'm still friends with to this day. You know, Duffy moved there, like yeah, man, Finland is like really special to me. A lot of good times there for sure. A lot of drinking, you know, a lot of drinking during that time. And
yeah. I think they're famous for that, yeah.
Lonkera, or I don't know how to pronounce it, but drinking these long drinks with gin in it and not knowing like, oh wait, I can't just have 6 of these and be all good.
Yeah.
Like,
you're gonna start feeling it, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm wasted. Like,
yeah.
Oh, I remember, oh man, I do remember this one night partying after Beef, just hanging out with some friends, and we all went skinny dipping in this like really cold water at night.
Yeah.
And I remember just doing that, and like remember thinking like, wow, like we're here. Like we made it, because it's like a very like good moment. And like you going into the sauna, you're going in like naked, you know, like that's the Finnish way.
Okay.
So there was a lot of that, like being American, like, and then going into that culture, I was like, yeah, this is great.
Interesting,
like,
switch or change of pace, or
yeah, for sure. And I was all for it. So like that was one trip, and then another trip. There was this sauna on the lake. This one trip I went to, or I went on, and like I remember being like, that whole spot was like really rad, and you could only fit like 4 people, so there was like kind of a line.
Okay.
And then you'd go out, and we'd have like lunch like on this lake and go swimming, and like, man.
Wow. That sounds amazing, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, staying in Marius's like apartment in his bunk bed. I have a photo of him in his like on the top bunk, and like just
good times.
Yeah, good times. Just him opening up his whole world to me, to us. It was great, man. Yeah, love Finland. Love you, Marius.
Let's see. This next one's from Jason Henry, photographer, I believe.
Yes.
So he said to ask you about Club Black in Nigeria.
Oh my god.
That's it. Is there a story?
Yeah. And it's actually very recent.
Okay. When did you travel there?
I went there with Nestor, Judkins, Ando.
The Salad Days crew?
Yeah, Zach and Drake Johnson. And I went there in February of this year.
Okay, so
and I remember... and Jason and I, like, we caught up recently in San Francisco. Actually, I saw him in Florida not too long ago, but we caught up big time in SF. And yeah, he asked me about my Nigeria trip, or that got brought up somehow. And I told him there's so many stories from Nigeria. Nigeria was another one of those like rad, you know, epic adventures, you know, like what a beautiful, huge culture shock, and just like so vibrant and beautiful people, and everyone was so nice, and it was just such a rad experience. And like, you know, like big up to Jomi at WAF, you know, Waffles and Cream, for like taking good care of us, and like, and Nestor, you know, and Zac, like for, you know, help getting a skate park built on Lagos Island. You know, it's the first one ever. So like, just big up to those dudes for the invite and for the experience.
Yeah.
But so we're like second night into being there, and the first night these dudes, except for Drake and I, they like went out and they went to like the nearest like club they can go to, you know, and just to like, we're here, we're doing this, we're maximizing our time here, like we're getting it in. And they meet this dude who's like throwing this party at this club not too far from like where we were staying, and this dude's name is OG Natty.
Okay.
And OG Natty is like, you gotta come to my birthday party tomorrow night, it's at Club Black. And they're like, yeah, you know, Zac and Nestor and Ando are like just the best dudes to be on trips with, you know, like they're like yes men.
Yeah. they want to
yes to
live
everything.
It all.
They're doing it all.
Yeah.
And, you know, especially in Zac, dude. Zac's like, oh my God. It's the best energy. Best dude to go on a trip with. So they get back, you know, later on that night. I'm like, how was the club or whatever? And they're like, oh yeah, we met this dude, OG Natty. He wants us to come to this other club for his birthday. And I was like, all right, I'm definitely going to that. So whatever. The next day came around. We had an epic day. You know, night came. And Jomi basically drops us off at this like compound where it's like gated and they have security, and it's like, hey, like when I leave here and what you do after I leave, this is like, you're responsible for your like selves. Like, yeah, we're good. Like,
hopefully.
So Zac's like, hey, I'm gonna call Uber. We're gonna go to this club, and it's like a 20-minute Uber drive. I'm like, oh, whoa, this isn't like close. This is far. Like if there's no Ubers to like take us back, we're like stranded. 20-minute, we're not walking back.
Yeah.
Like, this is far.
Yeah, no.
So we get picked up, we are driving, and then we make a left down this road, and it's like pitch black. And then you see in the distance like this lit up little part of the road. And it's just this like little teeny area where it's just all lit up. And there is a restaurant or club to the right of the road, and then a restaurant or club to the left. And then it's just darkness on each side. So it's just this one road, pitch black, and then this little part that's just lit up, right?
Wow. Damn.
So I'm like, whoa, okay. And it's just me, Nestor, Ando, and Zac.
Right.
And that's it. You know, just us. Like 4 white dudes, you know, fucking in this place, about to go into this club. Like, you know, and so we go into this club. It's the wrong club. So they're like, no, come back. I was like, well, maybe we'll come back later. I think we're in the wrong place. Sorry. And they're like, you know, all right, like, come back though. Like, you know, they want our business.
Yeah.
So we go across the street, and then we see it. We finally see it, like, black. It just says black.
Okay.
And we walk in, and we're like, holy shit. Like, this is amazing. There's, like, a smoke machine, fog machine. There's lights. It's like a disco. Like, this is crazy. But it's, like, full-blown, like, Nigerian clubbing experience.
Wow.
Like, women are walking around with, like, wads of money. And and there's people like this dude blowing a whistle, and like everyone's just dancing. It's so sick, you know, and like good tunes too. Like the DJ was like playing like really good music. And so then OG Natty comes out of nowhere. I remember he like just jumps in front of us, and he's like, you guys made it. I can't believe you came. and I was like, yeah, we made it. And he's like, all right, come to my table. And I was like, happy birthday, dude. And he's like, thank you. Like, so he introduces us to like his whole like table of friends, which is like, there's like, man, 15 people there at this table. And there's like bottle service, and he's like, yeah, grab whatever you want. But there's only whiskey. Okay. There's no beer, there's no tequila, there's nothing. It's just
whiskey. Wow.
Just whiskey.
Okay.
And you cannot order a glass. You can only order a bottle. And we didn't know that at the time. So when we went to the bar, Ando and Nestor and Zach, they were like, can we get 3 glasses of whiskey? And the guy just like puts the bottle on the table, opens it, and right when you open it, that's it. You got to pay for it. You're taking the bottle.
Oh yeah, okay.
Pours it, and then, you know, he's like says how much it is, and then we didn't bring really enough money for this like bottle service. And I'm like, oh shit, like how the hell are we gonna pay for this bottle?
Yeah.
And then the homie OG Natty's just like, what's going on here? I'm like, oh, we don't have enough money for this. Like, how much is it? Just put it on my tab. Just give me what you have. And he just took care of us.
Okay.
You know, and made sure like we were all good. And yeah, dude, we were just like dancing and partying. And, you know, I was talking to people like in the like, where are you from? Like, oh, you know, I live in Miami right now. Like, I'm from Miami, and like these dudes are from California. We're just visiting, and they're like, oh, amazing, like skateboarding. Like they were just like so stoked.
Yeah,
like just high energy, and so just open arms. Like everyone was like hyped.
That's rad. Wow.
And yeah, and I was just shooting photos, and yeah, it was just like ultimate experience, you know. And they were just throwing money around. There was like just throwing these like, I was like, whoa, like this is crazy.
Like bills, like money bills, like
Yeah, like, well, not dollar bills, but like Nigerian, like
right,
yeah, rands. I forget what it's called, but yeah. So I was just like, wow, we're getting the full experience.
Yeah, the local clubbing nights, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, like full Nigerian clubbing experience. So we're wrapping up. It's like 3 a.m. It's like, all right, we gotta go. We gotta wake up and like get back. Yeah. Uber cancels on us twice.
Oh shit.
I start kind of panicking, you know, and I'm like, oh no, like what if we, you know, we got to get back. Anyway, there's some other stuff that happens in between that, but like nothing like too crazy. But we got picked up, you know, woke up in the morning. Jomi picked us up. I was like, whoa, what'd you guys do last night? And I was like, we went clubbing. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, where'd you guys go? And, you know, we told them where we went, and he goes, whoa, you guys went there? Man, you guys got the full Nigerian experience. and I was like, yeah, we did. It was sick. And he's like, that's so sick. You saw that like whole side of it, you know?
Yeah.
Because we wouldn't have probably experienced that.
No, yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you hadn't like
just gone off on our own and done our thing. And
yeah, and when this guy, I don't remember his name, but OG Natty, you said
OG
when he offered
Natty.
you guys to come, and you actually did. Like he was surprised when he saw you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. Yeah, we all follow him on Instagram. What an experience, man. But that was just like one night.
Yeah.
Out of like the 10 days that we were there, and like all the days that we like, Jomi really took good care of us, and had what an amazing experience.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. And I told him, I remember like leaving when we left Nigeria, and he was dropping us off at the airport. I was like, look, when you come to Miami, I can't top this.
Yeah.
So I'll take you to a Cuban restaurant, you know, and like they'll take you to the beach and show you around. But like there's no way I could top what you just did
offered
for us these last like what you offered us these last like 10 days. Like it was so beautiful.
Yeah.
And amazing. And like such a good crew and like scene they got going on there. It's so rad. So yeah, if you ever make it to like Lagos in Nigeria, then like go to WAF, man. Check the skate shop out. Check the skate park out. It's on Lagos Island. Freedom Park? No, Freedom Park.
Freedom Park, okay.
Yes. The place is rad. Yeah, such a rad place.
I might have seen photos of it from Nestor or maybe on your Instagram. I don't remember, but
yeah. I posted a little video about it. Like I made like a little edit. Nestor made some stuff. We all shot photos. Like Drake's a photographer. I'm a photographer. Ando's a photographer. Zach. So we all have like, you know. Hopefully we're gonna do this like show. I think in November.
Oh, cool.
You know, and bring all those dudes out and like make a little photo book.
That would be sick.
On it, you know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and maybe have like I think WAF will do like a pop-up shop there and like, you know, do that whole thing. But yeah, man, that was a really good connection. Really, that's what it's about, and that was a really cool experience for sure. Yeah, man. Jason, J. Henry, my brother, big love.
Alright, I have another audio one for you here. Let's see.
Hey Brian, this is Kevin. Hope you're doing good since the last time we saw each other in Biarritz, and hope the little Isla is doing good too. Well, I got a quick one for you, my friend, about that skate trip we did quite a long time ago in Kyrgyzstan. What do you keep in mind about that adventure through this amazing country, and which destination would you choose for our next trip? Hope to see you soon. Take care, brother.
Yes, Kevin.
Kevin Métallier, yeah, from
Métallier. Oh, yeah. Yeah, long time. Yeah, good friend. Him and Sebastian Ibis. Yeah, man.
So you guys traveled to Kyrgyzstan? How do you say that?
Kyrgyzstan.
Kyrgyzstan, yeah.
Yeah, Kyrgyzstan.
Right.
So, actually, I'm glad you got in touch with him, because that trip was kind of the beginning of me going to Paris, meeting Ben, meeting Kevin, and I used that trip as a slingshot to just stay in Europe.
Oh yeah, okay. That was 2014, right? The year where you
that was like fully shifted. So I was just really in the like zone of just, and I wasn't drinking.
Mm-hmm. At all?
Yeah, at all. I'm pretty sure I was sober, that trip. And I got invited to that on a Red Bull trip, and I kind of didn't know anyone. Aiden Campbell was like the only American on the trip, and I got to know him. He's such a rad dude, and then I got to meet all these other dudes like Tiak and like from Berlin. Mm-hmm. And then I just friended all these other dudes, like this dude Maxime from St. Petersburg, from Russia.
Okay.
So it was like
very diverse crew of guys.
Very, very diverse crew of guys. Everyone ripped. It was awesome. And I looked up where we were going, and I was like, whoa, we're like in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
like this is like, we're going to middle of nowhere, like, like near Mongolia.
Yeah.
And like that trip was amazing. That was another one, like everything. Like the food was amazing, people were really nice, like it was so photogenic. Like I'm still sitting on this Kyrgyzstan file that I has not seen. Yeah, from 2014, that has not seen the light of day.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to see some of those, yeah.
I've only shown a few people, and like I showed Ben Chardon. He's like, "Oh, these are sick. Like you should make a book, or something with it." And I'm still figuring that out. Yeah, thinking about it, and like, but yeah, like that trip was so amazing. And we started in Bishkek, which is the capital.
Okay.
And I remember the first couple of days I couldn't really even skate because I had like my ankle got really sore because I was so excited to be in Paris the night before, because I had a whole like day layover in Paris before I flew out to Kyrgyzstan, and I skated that night for like 2 hours straight with Ben Chardon. This is the first time like I had met Ben and like skated with him, and Republic just got redesigned. Redesigned, so everything was brand new. The ledges were brand new, and Kevin lives like 2 blocks from there.
Okay.
So I just was so juiced and was like trying to film this like marathon of a line with Ben, and my ankle got really sore. Anyway, like I couldn't skate the first like 2-3 days. I was in Bishkek just waiting for my ankle to heal. But yeah, crazy. And I didn't know what we were doing. I just kind of like, we're here, but I didn't know we were gonna like drive around and go to all these like different towns and really get lost in the land, like go into this mountainous country and just kind of live off the grid a bit. Drive around in this van and try to skate, I guess. Whatever we can, whatever roads were paved. But yeah, man, that experience was really special. That one, like, again, I think that one was like really the kind of catapulted my whole
reconfiguration, kind of.
Fully reconfigured, and like just as a person, and like what I was doing, what I wanted to do with my life. And I remember just being like, this is what I want to do. And like, again, like I met these amazing people, and I ended up like staying with Tiak like 2 weeks later in Berlin when I got back to Paris, and like like meeting Sarah, and like just that kind of snowballed into this like just me living in Europe for a little bit. But yeah, Kyrgyzstan, man, what an amazing adventure. Good skating too, and like Bishkek, like there's a ton of spots in Bishkek.
How was skating perceived out there? Like, were people hostile to it, or like more welcoming, or like how did they perceive it, kind of?
Well, they didn't really know. Like it wasn't a big scene at the time. I don't know what it is now.
Yeah.
But I remember talking to one of the locals, like it was a very small scene, and they have skate spots, and it's all this like marble from like, you know,
Soviet era.
Soviet era, yeah. It's all like post-Soviet USSR, like
Right.
before they gained their independence back. So everyone speaks like Russian and Kyrgyz there.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we had this Russian kid with us, Maxine, you know, who was like helping out, and a local with us. And yeah, the people were just more like curious until you're like skating some museum and you're trying to like grind this like double kinked hubba, and you're getting pretty much this dude's chasing you, running at you with an AK-47. And you're like, whoa,
Oh,
like,
shit. Wow.
oh shit, like what did I do?
Yeah,
so except for that one time.
That's pretty gnarly though. Wow. With an AK-47.
I know,
Wow.
I know. I was pretty close to like grinding this hubba. I would have been stoked, but we got kicked out. But
That's too bad, yeah.
but other than that, yeah, no, we drove to these other like small towns, and like, you know, some kids hadn't even seen a skateboard ever in their lives, or an iPhone.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
You know, they were just
Especially
like,
back
what
then,
is like?
Yeah, maybe today it's a bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, but back then it was like a little bit behind, and like, you know, we'd stop in this like mountain like area, and there were just people living in yurts.
Yeah.
You know, just like family living in yurts. And, you know, I was communicating with like the father of the family, and he was like pointing at my tattoos, and just, you know, I have an eagle tattoo, I have like this wolf tattoo, and he was like, he was pointing at like, look, eagle over there, like wolf over here.
Yeah. Okay.
It was really cool with the language barrier and all.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, man, that was, what an experience.
How did you end up on that trip? Because you said it was a Red Bull trip, right? But I don't think you were ever like on
No.
Red Bull, weren't you? Yeah.
No, they just reach out to like pro skaters, you know, and they get their like Red Bull riders and then other pro skaters.
Okay.
And I've been on like 3 other ones prior to that were really cool as well. And we went to like some really awesome places.
Yeah, that's rad. Yeah. Did someone make an edit of this whole trip, like a video?
Yeah. Seb made an edit.
Okay, I'll try to find it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Red Bull Children of the Sun in Kyrgyzstan. And yeah, like we did that whole thing, and it was kind of, you know, like those Red Bull edits. It's like a little mini documentary style of
Right.
skate culture and these rural areas where the skating kind of doesn't kind of make it over that way.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's what kind of Salad Days really, I
Yeah.
love Salad Days for that. Like Nestor, they really do that, man.
Yeah, for sure.
They like bring skateboarding awareness and all that in the
To
culture
places
to
where it's pretty much doesn't exist yet. Yeah.
Bhutan or I don't know, wherever.
Yeah.
Just random like amazing places. But yeah, man, Kyrgyzstan was definitely a milestone. It was like a, you know, like, whoa, this is what I want to go to places like this. And I want to do this. It wasn't about stacking clips. It wasn't about like getting the most footage. It was all about experience.
Yeah.
You know, and just meeting people and connecting. And I think that's what that was the beginning of it. Like, okay, this is what I want to be doing.
Yeah, this is how I want to travel.
This is how I want to travel. Exactly. Skating's great. I'm grateful it got me here. And yeah, I'll skate, but skating comes like, I want to skate naturally. So that's just fun. All this other stuff is like, I really want to like get into it. I want to live it. But yeah, man. Yeah, Kev.
So this one is from Joe Brook, and he asked, how did you get into photography? Could you tell us in a few words maybe, like when did you start shooting and how did you get the photography bug kind of?
Well, I had a Canon AE1 lying around, and my friend was like, look, that's a great first camera to start with. It was 2009 or 2008. No, 2009. And it was like right when I had gotten to New York. And that was basically it.
Okay.
And that's where that started. And I think it was just me trying to pick up other things because of the seasons. Because of winter and picking up a guitar, walking around, shooting photos. I just kind of started doing that. And that's how that came about. And then realizing like, oh, I have all these photographer friends. Like I go on trips with them.
I can learn a lot from them, yeah.
I can learn a lot from them. And then, I just started asking questions and started shooting more on trips. And that was it. Just traveling and skating, and the classic thing that happens when you travel a lot. You want to capture all those moments.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I love your photos. At least the ones that you put on your Instagram, I really appreciate those. And it looks like you have a
Thanks,
whole stock of them that you haven't put on there. So looking forward to seeing some more. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe make a book one day and really sink my teeth into that when the timing's right.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, maybe I should start posting more photos on Instagram again. I kind of, that kind of took a back seat, but we'll see.
What is it that you enjoy shooting the most? Like, do you shoot skating, or do you try to more just go on walks and just capture whatever is happening or stuff like that, and looking for little nuggets kind of, or moments? How do you approach that?
Kind of that more.
Okay.
I'll always have a point and shoot on me, or like, my M6, and just walk around really and shoot.
Okay.
Or I'll have it in my bag. I'll go out for a skate. I'll go have a session, and if I see something that I like, I'll pull over. I'll shoot it. I don't really put too much thought into it. It's just more of a feeling. There's probably most of the things I shoot I won't do anything with, and then there are other things that I shoot and I'll come back to it and be like, oh, actually that's kind of cool now. And that's been sitting for like 6 years. Like, I kind of like that now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just more like skating too. I'll shoot something and I'll just sit on that too. If it's a photo of a skater, and like I'll shoot a portrait of them, or I'll shoot them skating. And again, I'm not really putting too much thought into it. It's just kind of in the moment, and I have my camera on me, and like, I had a good conversation with you. Can I get a photo of you? Or like, oh, you're looking good today. Like, or I like this lighting, or I like this backdrop. Let me stand right there. Let me get a photo of you. It's all really just flowy, and unless someone gives me a project and they're like, hey, this is what we want you to narrow in on, I don't really have I don't know if I have a style. Like, I still don't really consider myself like a real photographer. I don't know, like,
what is a real photographer? Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I have a camera and I shoot photos, and that's it. Like, now what I do with them is like, that's all, like, only time will tell. I'm basically just shooting and like archiving.
All right, this next one is from Zac Coyne, Habitat teammate of yours. Let's see, he said, ask Dela about his favorite trap remixes on YouTube and what is the best Miami-based movie. And also send his family some love. I hope he's training Arlo to give Isla rides around. Is that how you say your daughter's name, Isla?
Isla, yeah.
Yes, Isla, okay.
All right, wait, what was the first question?
The favorite trap remixes on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's like, DJ Screw, but also there's CVS Bangers. My friend Paul got me into this like YouTube, mix, and it's this dude, I think he's from Philly. Okay. Is DJ Hennessy. Okay. And he makes these, volume 1, volume 2, volume 4, and it's like CVS volume 1, and it's has all these like random songs like Guns N' Roses, and then has like a gunshot like white guy music. Like, it's just
yeah,
it's just
funny.
good.
Yeah, okay.
It's super funny, like good hype music for a skate trip, and then like trap music, like Tommy Wright stuff, and just like Memphis like hip hop, like from the like 90s, like stuff like that, like again, like DJ Screw, and I'm really into that whole genre of music. And then the
best Miami-based movie. Do you have something that comes to mind?
Yeah, I mean, of course, like I'm gonna say Scarface.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
With Pacino, but that one's like really just like everyone knows that one. That one's like so surface level. I'm trying to think of like a cuttier Miami-based movie. You know which one I like? And he's one of my favorite actors ever. And comedian. One of my favorite stand-up comedians.
Oh, yeah?
It's starring Robin Williams. And it takes place in Miami. And the movie's called Birdcage. And
wow. Okay. I don't think I've heard of this one.
It's a comedy. It's such a funny movie. Okay. Yeah, and it takes place in Miami. And you can really get a good, like, vibe for the South Beach scene. Because that's, opening shots or take place there. And this other one with John Leguizamo called The Pest.
Okay.
And that's another comedy. And yeah, these are all like, I don't know, I'm really into comedies. So, and they're all just like, especially The Pest, it's so silly. It's such a silly movie, but like it takes place in Miami. And as a kid growing up, like I love that one. and Birdcage. Birdcage was really, really cool one.
With Robin Williams, you said, right?
Yeah, with Robin, man. Yeah, that one was
so
such a legend.
What year did that movie come out? Was that in the 90s or early 2000s?
That was, yeah, these are all like 90s.
Okay.
90s movies.
Okay.
Yeah. That's when I was really like watching a lot of movies.
Okay. Chewy Cannon asked, which country has the best spots?
Whew.
That's a tough
Chewy.
one, but
yeah, tough bunch, one. But I can, yeah, they're a bunch, but two of my favorite. One, Portugal.
Oh yeah.
Portugal to me has always been like one of my favorite places for skating, food, culture. It's affordable. It's beautiful. It's so gorgeous. It's, you know, I went there with my lady last year when Isla was 10 months old. It was like, what a beautiful little holiday we had, you know.
I'm sure, yeah.
It was great, you know, and got to see Pedro and Sylvia and got to catch up with all the homies in Lisbon. So, spot-wise, Portugal. Lisbon and Porto and like just anywhere kind of in Portugal is like kind of like the best.
I
love those spots.
A lot of skaters, especially from Europe, are moving to Lisbon, yeah.
It makes sense, man. It's beautiful. And, you know, in London.
Oh, yeah.
I really love London. I love the layout. I love how old everything is. There's bricks everywhere. There's banks everywhere. There's marble ledges everywhere.
The grounds are a little rough, though. I mean, it depends where, but yeah.
I love it, though. I love how rough it is. And there's so much cutty shit.
Yeah.
It's so cutty and big. Like, and I barely, like, scratched the surface there. I haven't even spent a lot of time there. It's all been in really small increments each trip. And each time I'm like, wow. Yeah, London, man. London's got it going on. Spain, of course.
Yeah.
Turkey. Yeah, Turkey's got it going on. And, you know, the northeast of America. Like Jersey, Pennsylvania, like Rust Belt, all of those like places they just look amazing. And, you know, some of those spots are hard as shit to skate, but it makes for really good footage. Like aesthetically, like that's what you want your video parts to look like.
Yeah.
You know, SF is great. New York's great, but like I'm all about aesthetics these days, and you know, looking for a cutty cool spot, and there's a lot of that in like those areas. Like I was talking to Jake Todd the other day about it, and he's always sending me these like little like gems, a little outside Philly or in Jersey, and I'm like, shit, I gotta get up there, dude. There's so much
to uncover.
skate.
Yeah.
Oh my god, so much. But yeah, man, like those are some of my favorite like places for sure. Yeah, Chewy.
All right, let's do this next one.
Hey Brian, it's Jaime Owens. Hope all is well, brother. I thought we'd use this question to blow up Abe Bethel and his shop, Greater Skate Shop in Miami, since you live so close to it and it's probably your local skate shop now. Give him a shout. All right, take care, man. See ya. Bye.
Yeah, Jamie. He's the best. Yeah, Abe too, man. So
the curb master.
Yeah, curb master. Yeah, man. He opened up a skate shop like 8 minutes from where I grew up, from my mom's house, and this area has really been needing that for 15 plus years.
Okay.
Because everything's out east. There's nothing out west, and I grew up so far west, and there's like these little skate parks, around, but like there's no shop to go to. And thankfully, Abe moved back from LA and he opened up this shop. Greater, dude. Yeah. It's kind of been my like saving grace, to be honest. Whenever I need to like go in there to like have a, shop talk and get out of the house for a little bit, but want to stay local because, I don't want to deal with traffic going east. And I can bring my daughter in there, and we basically, like, Isla and I just go in there and hang out, like, hours at a time just to give my lady a break, and give her some time off.
Sure, yeah.
And, yeah, I just spend time with Abe, and, we get into some good conversations. And Isla gets to kind of run around there and, like, play in the little, like, the secondhand like wheel box that's there. And it's right next to like this really good empanada spot. It's a good location for
good hangout spot, kind of. Or?
Yeah, where we're at. Like kids go there, and like it's just good for the community. You can like meet the local kids at the skate park, and they all are like riding grader boards and wearing grader tees, and it's like, yes, dude, we have been like really needing this out here. But yeah, man, big up to Abe and
shout out
Grader, dude. Like,
Grader Skate Shop, right? Is that the name?
Yeah, Grader Skate Shop. Yeah, it's off Bird Road, close to like 137th Bird Road and like 133rd and something. But anyway, yeah, Grader Skate Shop. Big up to Jamie too, man. Closer.
Yeah,
homie.
Okay, I have another one here from Danny Montoya. He said, "Let's hear your go-to order at La Sandwicherie on 14th Street." I said it the French way, but La Sandwicherie.
You said it the right way.
So is that 14th Street in New York, or is that another 14th Street?
14th and Washington on South Beach.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, Washington Ave and 14th. It's right across the street from Club Deuce Bar, which is another like staple in Miami. And you know, you have a sandwich, you go in the Deuce or vice versa, and it's one of the best sandwich places in the city, honestly. And it's been there since late 80s, maybe early 90s, I forget. But I remember going there when I was a kid. But going there more when I like was a teenager and like going with like older homies and stuff. And my go-to is a brie cheese sandwich with all the veggies, extra pickles, extra like these cornichon pickles, those little teeny ones. Yeah, and then extra dressing. Because their dressing, they make this dressing there. It's like in-house. It's so good. It's insane. Like if you ever come to Miami, anyone that comes to Miami
should go there.
And should go. I always kind of steer them in that direction. Like just go to La Sandwicherie, go to Las Olas. If you're into like shitty dive bars, go to Deuce. You know, you'll have a good time. Obviously go to the ocean. But yeah, man, that's my go-to. Maybe get a smoothie, depending on the day. But yeah, and it's outdoor seating. It's really nice.
Awesome, yeah.
Yeah, Toya, come visit.
So I have another question from Andrew Caulfield, Ando.
Yes.
He told me to ask you basically about a photo. It's the photo of you skating on the Golden Gate Bridge. He shot it in 2020.
Yeah.
He sent me a photo of it, and you can see people like with the Black Lives Matter protests on the side.
Yeah, man, that was during the BLM movement. It was, and you know, pandemic and all of that going on, and it was just super powerful.
Yeah, it's a great photo. I hadn't seen it, and it's amazing. Yeah,
I was hanging out, staying with Ando and Al, and we heard about what was going to happen at the Golden Gate Bridge, about the protest, and we're like, oh, we got to go. So Ando, he got there a little bit ahead of us, and Al and I, we went, and yeah, there was like a part of the Golden Gate Bridge where the traffic was stopped, but the cars were still kind of getting through. And then Ando was like, so we get to the middle of the Golden Gate Bridge, and there's this like little gate that you can open to get on to the bridge.
Okay.
And it wasn't locked or anything. Like you can just open it and just like walk right onto the road. And you know, I was with Al and Ando, and I was just like, man, I'm just gonna, I don't know. I think it was just because of the energy and just because of like what we were like there for.
Yeah.
You know, and it was just like really powerful moment, and I just kind of like let myself go into that, and then Ando's like, dude, get out there, dude. I'm like, I don't know, should I? Like, you know what? And then I was just like, fuck it, like. So I just go out there and I just start like skating past everyone, you know, and like putting up the fist, you know, and just being like, you know, fucking protesting. And,
yeah.
And just being a part of it, and just and skating back, and he snapped that photo, and then that actually kind of opened up the whole like Golden Gate Bridge. People started coming out from that gate, and they just started getting on the bridge. I'm like, everyone get out, everyone come. Like everyone was like, come on. So we got on the bridge, and then we stopped traffic completely.
Wow.
And then we started walking back to the city because we were headed towards Marin, and that was like kind of this like Ando like standing there and opening that gate, and then me going through like doing that kind of opened up the whole like everyone getting onto the bridge.
That's incredible. Wow.
Yeah. It was super powerful moment.
Incredible moment, I'm sure. Yeah.
Grateful to, you know, have been a part of that and all the other protests that I went to. And yeah, man, like really crazy time. I mean, still crazy. We're still in this.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but that time was it was like the middle of the pandemic, and I think George Floyd had been murdered just right before that. Right?
Yeah, all of that. Yep, that was the catalyst.
Yeah, right.
And that whole trip too, man. Like it was that whole day. Actually, I think that day was like amazing. That happened, you know, and like we were walking through like cops and stuff, and they were trying to like create a barrier, and like it was just like really sick to like just kind of like mash through all that. And then we ended up just going back towards the Richmond and ended up getting a skate photo. Ended up like getting this photo with Ando on this hill on this like bump over like can, and it was just cool. And I was living in Sacramento at the time, and like COVID, and like was kind of having a rough time in Sac. COVID didn't help, and being away from like my friends and community in the city, and like I was just visiting SF at that time. So it was just a really good like trip to like a couple days that I took off from being in Sac to like go and hang out in the city, and you know, not knowing that was gonna happen.
Yeah.
Really, really rad day. Fucking yeah, man.
Yeah, you're gonna remember this forever. Yeah, that's
pretty... for sure. I mean, the photo's there. It's on the board. It was FTC made some boards, and Ando made prints, and that was a really powerful day.
All right, let's do this one.
Hey, Dela. This is Alex Papke. I'd love to hear your side of the story about the time we almost got stuck in Argentina when COVID happened. Hope you're well, bro.
Yeah, Papke. That's my dude. Yeah, I think that was the first trip I went on with Papke. And I think it was Brad Cromer's first Converse trip, too. And, you know, we're all excited. I've never been to Argentina. Like, I've only been to Chile. But so, yeah, Argentina was, like, all new to me. And, yeah, we're skating. We're like 3 days in. And then all of a sudden, COVID starts ramping up. And we're like, oh, shit, what's going on? We see the frenzy that's happening in the States with people going to grab tons of toilet paper and hand sanitizer. And, like, it just, you know, it was nuts. A frenzy. Going nuts. And I remember hearing that they started kind of, like, closing off, like, you know, countries and doing that whole thing. And we're like, fuck, well, we're in Argentina right now. Like, should we head back? And some of us were like, nah, like, let's stay. Like, let's skate. Like, let's do, like, I was like, I want to stay, you know? Like, we're here. I don't know when I'll be back down here. Like, this is epic, you know? And we were skating with, like, Milton and Issa, and, yeah, just, it was amazing. And we got to go to Playa del Mar and, like, where he grew up, and, dude, it was sick. Like, skating with Milton and his bro, and, like, that was awesome. But then we got the call, like, hey, like, Nike Travel is, like, flying everyone home. Okay. Everyone needs to go home. Everyone needs to drop what they're doing, and we need to, like, you know, fly back to the States. So I was like, oh, shit, this is serious. This is, like, this is, like, getting bad. And, you know, at the time, not knowing, like, the severity of it, we were just kind of, like, joking about it, like, whatever. Like, I remember Ryan Lee was, like, going to like some dollar store and getting a ton of hand sanitizer and like toilet paper to bring back to the States because you know of the shortage.
Finding you over there,
yeah, dude, because of the shortage that you know you've seen the news and all that, and so it was insane, like scary, but also like fuck, dude, what if we get stuck? We'll be stuck here for months. Like I didn't want that. I know Brad certainly didn't want that. Brad's like, fuck that, we got to get home, like, you know? So, yeah, we were kind of nervous for a while, and then, like, we got our flights, and, like, all right, cool, like, we're going back. And it just kind of cut our trip short, unfortunately. And I never made it. I haven't been back since, and you know?
Yeah.
But I remember us just kind of, like, being really pretty laid back about it. Like, we'll be good. They'll get us out of here.
Yeah.
We trusted them. Like, they're going to get us out of here. Yeah, I just remember spending, like, quality time. I remember the last day, it was raining. We couldn't even skate. So we were just, like, hanging out and, like...
So that's in Buenos Aires, I guess? Or
Yeah, in Buenos Aires. We flew out of Buenos Aires.
Okay.
And we were, like, seeing all these spots that were soaked, and I was like, no, why are we leaving?
Bummer.
Like, why are we leaving? Like, such a bummer. Yeah. All good, though, but, Man, it was a good trip with Papke and Ryman and Brad and James. Like, Chris Shank was there, and Jake was there, Johnson and Remy and Jamie Platt. Like, whoa, like, dude, such a good crew.
Great crew, yeah.
It's great crew. Oh my God.
You must have been bummed to have to leave, yeah.
Oh, for sure, because I didn't see them, at least Chris Shank or I probably didn't see, like, Jamie
since
and
then?
Milton, and I mean, for, like, since 2 years after that, or a year after that, or 2 years. So, yeah, it was crazy. Just kind of the whole world shut down after that trip. And then I was just in Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, that was fun, man. It was a good trip with Papke, bud.
All right, let's see. This one's from Silas, Baxter, Neal. So he asked two things. Maybe you could pick one of the questions. He said, first question is, what do you think are the main elements of a timeless video part?
Wow, there are quite a few things. Filmer-skater relationship needs to be really strong and just need to have the same kind of vision.
Yeah, click, kind of, yeah.
Click. Yeah, just click. Where you're at, places you travel to, time, A good project takes, at least for me,
a couple years or?
Yeah, it takes time. It just can't be 6 months and here you go. Like, unless we're traveling. Or like, you gave me a year, but we're traveling extensively and all I'm doing is skating and I don't have a kid and I don't have a partner and, my lady and I'm just a skate rat, So there are quite a few things. But, like, those are the most important ones. Like, skater, filmer relationship, time, and aesthetics. What spots you want to skate and how they look. Oh, and music. Oh, my God. Music is, like... So music is so important, is everything.
Have you gotten to choose most of the musics you've skated to in your parts throughout the years?
No, not really. Like, I didn't choose my Search the Horizon part.
Because Trucci likes most of it himself, I guess, or?
He did all that. I suggested the MIA, the first song.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one. Yeah.
The Zelda Bakan. My friend Rob Harris, actually, he was the one. We were listening to some, like, remix of it, some hip-hop remix. He's like, dude, it'd be cool if you could skate to this. And then I heard the original, and my ex she's Turkish.
Okay.
And, and Zelda, she's Turkish. So I was like, oh, this could work. This would be cool. Just, as like a little homage.
Right, yeah.
Homage to her. But,
music is fundamental. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, fundamental. So, yeah, I picked that one. What else? Oh, and then I had Tony Manfrey make a song, or he, like, mixed my last Habitat part.
Yes, that was a cool one.
The live and direct one, yeah. Like, I had him make me something for that, and I was like, hell yeah, like, this is sick. Like,
yeah.
And I love Tony, man. Manfrey, that's the homie.
That part of yours is amazing. I really enjoyed that one. I watched it when it came out, and I watched it again a couple days ago, and I was like, this is so good. Like, the skating, the spots, the music, it's
Thank
flawless.
You.
Like, it's great. Yeah, it's a really, really good one.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it means a lot. I think that was the last, like, I remember thinking, like, all right, this could be it. This could be the last.
The last one? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know when it is. Maybe this one might be the last one. It's just the formula with Silas is, back to his question, is like filmer-skater relationship. When you don't have a filmer, then you don't have a part.
Yeah, well,
so
for sure.
So like, that's where I'm at now these days. Like, there's no filmer, so it's just like footage is few and far between. But yeah, I think that's the formula to answer Silas's first question. He knows he makes, like, the best video parts.
He also asked, as a skateboarder that has a handful of video parts under your belt and that has been through a few generations of skating, seen the rise of the internet and fall of the full length, what are your favorite things about the short form videos and long form videos?
Good question. Favorite thing about short videos are they're short, and and they're usually like these quick edits, and I really like them because then you can just go on a trip. And a 12-day trip and, like, get footage and whatever you get on that trip, like, that's what you get in the edit, and and it's a constant flow of content.
Yeah, nowadays, yeah.
To feed the machine, and I get it, I don't mind it. I like it. And what was the second question? About the full length?
Yeah, basically, he said, what are your favorite things about the short form videos and the long form videos? Because he was referencing like that you've seen the rise of the internet and the fall of the full length.
Yeah. Well, full length is hard. They're few and far between these days because there's so many of these like quick bursts of like, these short length ones, which is fine. So I really like a full length. People are still making them and I really appreciate them.
Yeah, me too.
Because they take time and energy and I don't know. I'm a full length guy. That's how I was brought up. I enjoyed the project. I enjoyed the theme, the aesthetics, and the music. And it's just, it's not slapped together quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
It's more thought out and, and the graphics, like Castrucci's work too. And, some people that work with like all the graphic design stuff and that goes into it and the imagery, like workshop stuff. And that's the stuff I really miss the most. And, there's some good stuff out there, quasi videos are sick. And, they're out there. It's just few and far between these days.
Yeah.
Some hit, some don't. I think what I miss about it is the wait. There's no waiting. It's just very accessible. It's just it's right there. It's instant. And it's like on to the next.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that. And, I watched the last Nike video. That was a full length. And it was really good. I really liked it.
The skating is incredible, but the editing, I'm honestly not the biggest fan, but
I like the music. Some songs in there were like really, this is a Cuddy one, like sick one.
Yeah.
And
the Kareem one was a bit odd but interesting.
Yeah. No, I liked it, dude. I liked it. And those, like that's one that I'll probably, watch again in like increments,
Yeah.
Maybe not all the way through again, but I'll be like, I need to revisit this skater or like,
But it is amazing. Like the level of skating is ridiculous.
Dude,
like
it's incredible.
And it's hard
incredible.
these days to be impressed, that much by a skate video, like to be like the draw on the floor kind of,
They put in the work, like you can tell, man.
Yeah.
Cyrus, like Karim, like Antonio, like all those dudes, like really put like
Deeds at the end, like
Deeds, Deeds. Oh my, man,
incredible.
Deeds, like incredible, like such good skaters, man. Blake killed it, just a lot of like homies, and just like you could see like hell yeah, they put in the energy, they put in the work, know, and it was pure. And you could see some of the trips too, like that Puerto Rico trip. I don't know what happened on that trip, but that trip looked fun as hell. You could just tell. People got really cool looking rad clips, and they just looked like they were having like the best time ever.
Yeah, so much content every day. It's
The times, I'm just a skate geek through and through, so like I'll watch a lot, man.
Yeah, me too.
Sometimes I'll go on like a little like break, a hiatus, and like watch Bluey with the kid.
That's good too.
And I'm usually like, to get stoked, I'll try to watch some skate videos. But man, Silas knows.
Okay, have you listened to this one? We mentioned this guy a bunch, I think.
All right, Brian, we've all got plenty, but I want to know your personal best Joel Meinholz story.
Wait, I can't. Who was that?
That's Josh Stewart.
That was Stewart?
Yes.
Oh my God. Why couldn't I recognize his voice? Oh, man. So when I was younger, I didn't really hang out with him too much. He would get me into like, I'd skate with him sometimes, and he would get me into like these bars because he was always like promoting when I was, I was underage. So I didn't really get to know him in that era where it was like party Joel era. And I've just heard stories, just a maniac. And as I got older, I would visit Miami and, I'd skate with him here and there. But I'd say like the last 2 years, I've been able to like get to know him a lot more and hang out with him. I don't know if I have any like good stories. It's just classic Joel. Like, he's just the most motivated dude I've ever like met. He's always doing something. He's always, whether it's shooting photos or fixing a spot or, he's definitely, he puts on for Miami for sure. I haven't gone on any skate trips with him. Really, it's just Miami stuff. And it's again, like he and I are just like big we just want to skate.
Yeah.
So when we hang out together, we really are just like skating and just trying to get each other stoked. And we're just fucking sweating. But yeah, honestly, I don't have any maniac Joel stories. All I have is good stories where we're just like out hanging, skating, you know, nothing too crazy, honestly. I mean, yeah, he's still a maniac on a board. He's got so
Still
much
killing
energy.
it,
Yeah, dude, he's like almost 50 and like very inspiring stuff.
All right, here we go.
What are some major differences you've seen from when you were a kid living in Miami to living there now in your 30s? Good and bad.
Yeah, Brad. Some major differences. A lot's happened since I've been gone, because I would visit every year, family and stuff. But I haven't lived here in like 17 years.
Yeah, right.
So a lot's changed, you know, new generation of kids, spots change, parks close, parks open, etc. But when I was a kid, I wasn't really thinking too much about skating the way I'm thinking about it now. I think now, these days, as a grown-up, it's a bit more strategic. And when I was a kid growing up here, it was more, I don't know, I don't want to use the word pure. It was just more, there was less mind involved.
Yeah,
It was more do.
Spontaneous?
Yeah, it was more spontaneous, and my skating was different, and, you know, I looked at spots differently. The crew was different, and the good part about it was a constant flow of just skating and not really thinking too much about what's gonna happen. You know, and that goes for anyone that's young. You're not really thinking too much about what could happen. It's more just like, I want to go here and I want to do this. And I'd say there's more confidence because there's less mind.
Yeah, sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, growing up here, I feel like I missed out on some things when I was younger here. Like skate spot wise, because Miami has a lot to offer. And, you know, I was skating with Matt Canner a bunch and Danny and like the West Side Skate Shop heads. And there was more like jumping involved. I wasn't skating as cutty.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a cutty, you know, I was looking for cutty spots. It was more like looking for the Jamie Thomas rail in downtown Miami, like, and trying to skate stuff like that. So I would visit, and my skating, like, you know, changed and progressed, and I started skating differently and having a different eye for things, and started noticing, like, whoa, like, Miami's really fucking sick. You know, it's not just this, like, jumping down double sets and handrails, and, you know, there's a lot of cool looking spots here. Unique spots. Crusty, shitty stucco ledge, but, you know, different.
Yeah.
So then moving back, you know, years later, I think that's what shifted. Good part about it is I'm finding new spots and I have a fresh eye.
Yeah.
And bad part's difficult because I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, because I'm grateful for the career that I've had and, you know, where I'm at in life. But I think bad part now is there are really no filmers.
Oh yeah.
Back then there were a grip of filmers and more people kind of just skating because people were younger. They didn't have jobs, you know, and life hadn't happened yet.
Responsibilities.
So, yeah. So growing up and moving back and being older now, there's more responsibility, not just within my life, but within my friends that I, you know, grew up skating with here.
Sure.
They all have like real jobs, 9 to 5s. They can't skate much. They skate maybe once, twice a week, if that. And they want to like go out and have a good time, you know?
Yeah.
Which makes sense. They had a hard work week and they want to really like let loose and skate and I get caught up still, like skate brain, where I want to like produce.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm still technically like doing this for a living.
Yes, sure.
So it's tricky, you know. Like I really want to go out and have fun, but then there's that little kind of like piece of me that's now slowly but surely starting to let go of, because I have no control over it. So it's just might as well float downstream instead of upstream. And that little part of me is still wanting to like film clips and be productive and get stuff done. And now, again, I have no control of that. So I'm kind of just enjoying the ride more now and not really stressing too much about, well, shit, I haven't filmed a clip in a month.
Yeah.
You know, and that would really kind of get under my skin and make me feel a certain way. But I'd say in the last like 6 months, I've really like let go. I've accepted.
Made your peace with it, kind of?
Yeah, and I've accepted like what is going on here. Things move slower here as opposed to
California.
San Francisco or New York. Yeah.
Right.
The pace here, everyone's moving at a different speed here, and it's mostly kind of, no one's in no rush here to do anything. Everyone's taking their time, especially in the summer. It's too hot to skate. So it's different. So it's taken me quite a while to like really accept that. But, you know, I still try to like stay sharp and keep the blade sharp and go to the park. And even on days where I'm like, nothing's going on, I'm going to the little skate park near, you know, my house and
practicing some tricks, some 5 grams.
Yeah, or just making sure I don't lose the fundamentals.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
And also like having fun, still having that like want, that itch to like, shit, I gotta get out.
Yeah.
Whether it's by myself, which has kind of been that lately, or, you know, I'll hit up Brad or get up with my buddy Joey and just more kind of like stay out west as opposed to going east like I was when I first got here a year and a half ago. There was a lot more of that because there was more happening.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, like my filmer buddy Zoogie was living here, and then he moved to New York for a while, and then that was kind of like the beginning of like people kind of like going their separate ways a bit. Everyone kind of just like, oh, okay, like crews kind of like fell apart a bit. Yeah, and it's like kind of the natural way of things.
Sure.
Because everyone wants to like skate and have fun, but also like they want to be productive, especially like hanging out with the younger generation, you know.
Yeah.
And they're really motivated, which I love, you know, being around. And they don't really have, I don't think, like, responsibility like what Brad has or like I have or older people have. It hasn't really quite hit them yet.
Yeah.
So it's nice to surround myself with that kind of energy. But lately, I've just been kind of keeping to myself. Back then, there was more crew, and there was no, like, planning it too much. It just kind of happened organically back then when I was a kid. That's the good part. The bad part now is you just have to orchestrate, and there's a lot of time managing, you know, having a kid and all, and the lack of filmer, and so that's kind of the bad part.
Yeah.
But there's still spots, so that's good, and I still like drive around and find stuff, fix stuff, and I'm really like trying to hold on to that a bit and still kind of do that when I, you know, when my lady, she gives me time or she's like, hey, I like get out of the house. Like, I have a great partner. She's awesome. So when I have time to do that, I'll go east, I'll skate a lot, or I'll just kind of like, you know, hopefully meet up with Brad, or I'm just kind of solo and I'm just kind of doing my own thing, which I've grown accustomed to. It's been weird, but again, that's just how it's been. And I'm okay with it now. I was kind of like getting frustrated. Skating alone a lot sucks.
Yeah, for a long time, for sure.
Yeah, like I get it. You have some sessions alone here and there, you know, once a week, twice a week. It's okay, but like, man, like you're getting out all the time, like, and you just set your tripod up and you're filming yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and you're sweating, especially when it's like it's starting to not be fun. And you're in this heat, like battling something that is just for Instagram, you know. But in your head, you want to continue to push yourself. Like, well, no one's here with a camera, so I'm just going to get it here with this thing. Whether, you know, this is a VX clip or an HD clip, whatever. Like, I just want to, like, push myself still. Just to see if I can, like, I want to put my stamina to the test.
Yeah.
You know, movement, man. I want to keep moving because, you know, the minute you stop moving, that's it. It's kind of a wrap.
Decline.
It just just dwindles out, you know. But yeah, that's I think that was like good and bad, you know. Even for now, it's like it's good, but it's bad for that reason. But I'm starting to not see it as it being so bad. It just is what it is, and it is what I make it.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to make it less, you know, depressing.
Yeah, sure. No, see the glass half full kind of.
Exactly. And I've been trying to find silver linings, and they're out there. And you just kind of got to get out of the house because sometimes it's really hard to motivate because you end up running into the question like, what's the point?
Yeah.
You know, what's the point anymore? Like, no one's really like asking me for much. You know, like
why would I bother going filling myself in a parking lot somewhere? Yeah.
So now I'm just kind of like, just enjoy the ride and just remain sharp. So when an opportunity does arise,
you're ready.
You know, I'm somewhat ready. Like, okay, cool. Like, I was at this park trying this trick the other day. Like, okay, I know I could do this. There's a little bit more confidence as opposed to not skating for like 5 days in a row, which is not a good thing.
You'll feel a bit rustier if you do that, yeah, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Like, the older you get, the less you do it, the quicker you lose it.
Yeah, definitely. That brings a question for me, but I was wondering, like, when you were growing up, it seemed like there was more of a crew around you and an industry, sort of, you know, filmers or a skate shop and stuff. And why would you say that it's less the case now? I remember talking with Grant Yanzura not long ago, and he told me that at some point, I think he contemplated moving weekend to Florida.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he was kind of, you know, had doubts because he's like, well, most of the industry is in California, so is it a good move? But he was like, it would be interesting to be in Florida because it's a bit more mellow, as you said, more chill.
So I think on Grant's behalf is his perspective. And his perspective, he's the filmer, he's the creator.
Yeah.
So my perspective is, I'm the skateboarder, and I don't really have a filmer-skater relationship with too many people, with no one really here.
Yeah.
It was my buddy Joey for a while, and then, you know, he's got a kid and his life just took over, you know, respectfully, and you know, and that's it. So it's all different perspectives, and my perspective is I have no control of this. You know, and the only control I have of is, like, Jake gave me really good advice, my buddy Jake. He goes, okay, I'm hearing you, so you need to make stuff happen, and which I have. But that involves me, like, okay, I'm working on this VX part. Who films VX? You know, that can, like, come out here and spend time with me. And then, you know, I'll hit up my other buddy, Jake Todd. You know, so that involves, like, asking one of my sponsors, hey, you think you can get, you know, Jake a ticket to come stay with me for, like, a week so I can finish off this, like, pepper part. So I'm making moves, but it's not consistent. You know, there's a lot of space in between. And that's my perspective. But in Grant's perspective, he's the creator. So he could move out here and still have skaters wanting to, like, hang out with him. He just needs to get out and, like, skate, and that's it. And you have footage and you have content. You know, I'm my own. You know, if you would have asked me 15, 20 years ago, like, hey, you're going to be a pro skater, I wouldn't have believed that. And also, you're going to be a content creator. I wouldn't have believed that either. You know, so... You know, I would have been like, content, like, what the
hell is that?
What's that? So it's all perspective. So some people can come out here and just, like, make it work. You know, and just, like, do it, and, like, they don't need to be where the industry is and, like, where things at. They can just, like Brad's really good at that.
Brad Cromer?
Yeah, he's really good at Instagram. You know, he's really talented on a board, and he can, like, make a curb look really cool. I can't do that, you know, and I've accepted that, and I have things that I can do that I'm good at, and I do them, but I preferably would want to document it. Not just on my phone. It's like, this is a real trick to me, and I want to, like, put it in a video part, and I guess I'm still caught in that way, you know, in that whole, like, trying to film a part. I
was just thinking, like, are your sponsors kind of pressuring you at all to, you know, put out some clips on Instagram or to go on trips, or, you know, like, are they knocking on your door?
Yeah, here and there. Like, Instagram is always, like, pushed. Yes, post. That like, kind of goes without saying. But as far as, like, trips go, not so much.
They know you have a kid and stuff, and
No, it's not even that. It's just they're working on other projects with the younger generation. They're doing that with them. So the older dudes, like dudes in their 30s, are more like, yeah, we'll get invited on trips, but it's more like event trips, or like, you know, hey, do you want to go out here for a week and then stay like 3 extra days and like try to film a clip or two for this like upcoming project.
Right.
So there's no like, hey, I want you to film another video part. Here's this like, you know, we're going to be traveling extensively. Like, those days are long gone.
Yeah. They don't expect this of you anymore.
No.
Okay.
And I accepted that 2 years ago. after that last Habitat part, I was like, oh, okay, like I see where I'm at now. I see where this is going, and I'm okay with it now. I was kind of having a tough time with it, but that's the natural progression of being a pro skater at this age.
Yeah, sure.
You know, and it's okay. So now I'm just like grateful to like even get invited on any like, hey, do you want to go on this like Thrasher weekend trip, or do you want to go on this like 303 board shop event, which I'm going to be doing this weekend for a day?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just grateful that that's still happening, and I get to go to skate shops and like hang out with kids and like still, and you know, and skate parks and still just like be involved
in the community. And
yeah, and which I love, you know, and I'm super stoked to be a part of it. But as far as like filming goes and like having that requirement, I've had to like kind of rewire my brain to like let go of a few things and like, oh, like they're not really expecting too much from me these days.
Yeah.
You know, and that's okay. But I still like to push myself from time to time because that's just naturally what I want to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Silas is a great example of that. Silas is like a workhorse, and I go on trips with him and I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, this dude is like, no one's asking him to do shit. He can like really just chill, but I see him like battling shit, like sacking rails still, and I'm like, fuck, like inspiring shit, you know? And like, hell yeah, I still want to do that. As long as like Converse or Habitat and, you know, got my name on a board and I'm still getting like supported in one way or another. You know, even this like Pepper Grip part, like it's a grip tape company, but they're supporting me a lot. And and Mesa and Ace, and I'm like, thank you so much. And I want to like put on for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and it's really like, it's inspiring me still to like still do it. Like, hell yeah, what? Like, you believe in me still? Like, I'm gonna try my best still and like give it my all, you know?
Yeah.
And do whatever my body can like handle that day. And so there's no really like, no one's putting a gun to my head these days.
Yeah.
You know,
like,
no one's
clips, like, what are you doing?
Yeah, dude, no. And I should be really, you know, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I was really pulling hair out of my head trying to like still do this. And then I had a talk with Lee, and he's like, dude, as much as I want to see another Delatorre part, like you're good. Like yeah, skate, you know, do your thing, Instagram. So I should be like, oh, great, and like enjoying myself. But a part of me is still caught in that just...
Yeah, you still want to do skateboarding that you're proud of.
Yeah, I'm still very much hardwired. And you can talk to any skate rat, and they'll probably tell you the same shit. They probably feel the same way I feel.
Yeah, definitely.
And if not, then I'm crazy. And yeah, maybe I am a little fucking nuts.
Well, skateboarders are a little bit crazy, I mean.
Yeah, I've accepted that. It's fine. But yeah, now I'm just kind of like trying to enjoy it more. Really like savor these moments, you know, and be more present and try not to get frustrated if I can't do something, even if it's something that I like, a trick that I, good at.
You can do, sure.
I can do and I can't do it. And like, that's kind of happens. It's been happening lately where like, I get to a spot and I know I can do it, but I didn't warm up that day properly, or I'm not as prepared, because back then I didn't need no preparation.
Yeah.
It was all like just excitement and just you're a kid and like you're nice and limber and can just jump over a rail into a bank and just do it. You know, and nowadays you need preparation and you need to like go to the skate park first, or like go somewhere and ollie on a ledge and like get your legs going and get moving.
Exactly, yeah.
That happened to me recently. You know, I went somewhere and it was a trick that I know I can do, and I couldn't get myself to do it because I wasn't prepared. You know, and it's a trick that's like I know I could do. I've done it a million times on the same obstacle, and I couldn't do it. It was like a mental block, and you know, there were a couple other factors involved, but it was really just me. Like, so I've learned to just kind of accept that and move forward from it and try to get better at preparing, you know, for spots like that. Or like if I'm going to go out and film something that day, I'll try not to like go hard on jiu-jitsu or like...
All right, yeah.
Yeah, or, you know, I just prepare, like not fucking go too nuts. Just know what I'm getting myself into and stretch properly and warm up properly. But yeah, no one's putting a gun to my head these days. It's It's mellow, and I'm starting to like enjoy skating again more.
Okay.
Dela, now that you're a father, what are some of the daily challenges you face as a professional athlete, skateboarder, whatever you want to call it? Do you find it hard to balance the lifestyle of skating and being a father, a family man, those types of things? Or is it a walk in the park? And do you have any advice for anybody that is expecting a child or wants to have a child that is also a pro athlete? Love you, buddy.
Oh, love you too, Aaron. That was a good question, Ezo. So I want to start from the last question because it's all situational. There's no advice I can really give anyone that is in our position, like pro athletes or anything like that. Especially as a professional skateboarder pro athlete. If you're a real pro athlete, like, you're in a completely different ballpark. You have money, you have nannies, you have... It's just all situational.
Yeah.
You know, if you're set up, then it's going to be a lot easier than the person that's not set up. You know, whether it's financially set up, whether it's having your flag planted somewhere already, and you're not really moving around much, or not having, and you don't have an idea to, or you don't really have any ideas to move around. You're there, and you have family around to help you out with your kid. So it's all just your situation. So it's hard to give advice to anyone
That will work for everybody, yeah.
That will work for everyone. Everyone's situation is so much different. My situation's really different. Like, I'm living with my mom right now, and I'm grateful she's opened up her space to us. I'm way out west where I grew up, and it's, you know, not ideal for my partner or me. And we're raising a kid together, you know, and I'm still skating. And going into the first part of the question, it's no walk in the park.
Yeah.
It's very hard. I guess there is some advice to that question I could give is like, and especially if you're, you know, a pro skater or an athlete, is find yourself a really good partner. Find yourself someone who supports your work, your dream, your passions. I guess like start there.
Yeah.
And within that, you can have just a better, a less easier. Even with that, you know, it could be hard.
Yeah, sure, of course.
Because, you know, again, where you're at, where your partner's at. You're emotionally responsible for not just yourself anymore. You know, you're responsible for your partner somewhat, and you have a kid now, and you guys got to come together. So yeah, it's all like your situation, where you're at, how much help you have. You know, if you have money for a nanny, then it could be a real walk in the park. And you can kind of just like, oh, I'm going to work, and call the nanny over, and you know, your lady can do her work too.
Yeah.
You know, and that way you both are bringing in money, income, and your baby's being raised. You know, you trust what's going on with the nanny and all that. But I don't have that.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me. And I think the hardest part is time management. And again, going back to, you know, if I want to go somewhere far, figuring out, I got to get out early.
Yeah.
No one really gets out early here. So I'm just kind of on my own again because I have to like beat traffic home.
Right, yeah.
Like if I leave here by 2:30 in the afternoon, I'm gonna stay east till like 7, and I'm missing dinner with the family. I'm missing bath time. I'm like not putting my daughter down.
Yeah, sure.
Exactly. So there's a lot of sacrifice involved, and then finding the time to skate and produce footage. All of that stuff kind of takes a back seat. In a way.
Yeah.
And you have to really plan. But if you have a good filmer-skater relationship, then you can really maneuver. Especially if the filmer doesn't have a kid as well and is just like a skate rat and is like not a real job. They don't have a real job. They can just, you know, hey, I have time off. Can you meet me here at this time? Like, yeah, sounds great. You know, like, so again, it's all like where you're at, who you're with, where they're at, and just time management. It's hard, dude.
Yeah, I'm sure, yeah.
It's really hard, and there's frustration involved, but, you know, then you look at your kid and you're like, oh, man, we're good. Like, this is where I need to be.
Yeah.
I need to be here. I've had my time in the sun, and and it was great. And it's still there, you know.
Yeah,
it's just,
sure.
You're just maneuvering. It's not as much. And actually, you know, really, when you do have time and stuff like that happens and planets align and things come and fall into place, then you're even more grateful.
Yes, you appreciate it so much more.
You just appreciate it way more than it happening every day. Or, I would do this where I was like, oh, I'll just do it tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And there are some, I don't know, I don't want to use the word regrets, but there were some fuck, man, I should have taken more advantage of even though I feel like I did what I could during that time, and I feel like I did pretty okay.
Absolutely.
But hindsight, man, I wish I would have taken more advantage of this situation. I wish I would have done more, because at the end of the day, you're getting older. Time isn't slowing up for no one. So there is a window physically that is closing, and you want to take advantage of that. So it's just, again, dude, balance. Finding that balance within your life and also communicating with your partner. Communication is huge. Key to maneuvering, raising a child, having this skateboard career, making sure that they are mentally and physically good as well, because we're raising this other human together and both parties have to be mentally and physically doing good, just to set a good example for your little one.
Yes, absolutely.
So, yeah, man, it's all circumstantial, and sometimes it takes time to get to that.
Sure, no, but because I mean, I don't have children, so I'm just speaking out of imagination, I guess, but or from people around me that have kids. But I guess it slowly comes into your life. First your lady becomes pregnant, and so you go through that phase. Then you have a child, and then you get used to the child in the first few months, and then after a year, it's a whole different kind of human being with a different rhythm, a different and
that changes changes constantly.
Yeah, so you're always adapting. So it's not like it's a very linear kind of thing. So you need to adapt.
So it's constant adapting. It's constant communication. Baby girl started doing this all of a sudden, and you're like, oh, whoa. Or she started napping 40 minutes a day as opposed to 2 hours, and you're like, oh shit.
That's an hour and a half less of,
we gotta fill this time in now, and we gotta start doing stuff. And again, it depends on where you're at. I wish I could just take her on a hike in the woods, but I don't think I'm gonna take her to the Everglades and hike around with her in this heat. But it's all circumstantial. It's all where you're at in life. And if you have financially, if you have the means to do stuff, it's really, really hard when you don't have the means to do stuff. You're just kind of okay, I guess we'll go to the playground. She doesn't know any better because she's young still. But, as she gets older, she's going to realize I don't want to do that anymore. Well, let's go do something. Shit costs money.
Yeah, for sure.
That's life, so it's hard to give parenting advice or any kind of advice in that department because everyone's life is different.
I assume if Aaron's asking about that, is he and his partner expecting a baby, or?
No, I have no idea. He's a few years younger than me. I'm sure, he'd be a great father.
For sure, yeah.
And I'm sure he knows this already. If he ever did have a kid and ever needed any kind of advice with anything, he knows I'm always there for him. But, that'd be great. I don't know his partner. I've never met her before, but I'm sure I will someday. But if there's any advice I could give is if you've been with your partner for a little bit and you guys are younger and thinking about it, just do it.
Yeah.
The earlier the better, because I wish I had. It's going to happen the way it's going to happen.
For sure, yeah.
It happened for us, the timing of it happened when it was supposed to happen. And I met Kate when I was supposed to meet Kate, and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Not to get into fate and all of that. But if you're in a position where you're, a certain age, you're young, you found your life partner and you've been thinking about having kids, and are scared because of what it's going to do to your skating or what it's going to do to your life and how if anything, it's going to heighten your life even more. You're going to have even more of a purpose, and it's just going to make things you just see life through this little person's eyes, and it just kind of resets. There's a reset every day.
Yeah.
Less questioning what I'm doing and more I know what I'm doing and
You're
I have
more
goals.
in the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have goals, and I want to get to here. So everything I do now in my life is for her.
Yeah.
And when I'm with her, and I'm nowhere else, and it's really a good feeling, man.
I'm sure.
But it ain't. It's not easy, you know.
Not,
it's
not
just
a walk in the park, like you said. Yeah.
Nah, it's selfless work. You know, it's not. You're no longer. And I really respect the friends that I've asked in the past, like, hey, do you want kids in your life? And they've said, no, I'm too selfish. And I'm like, know thyself. That's great. You understand where you're at in your life and, you know, who you are, the person you are. Like, okay, respect. But things change.
Of course, yeah.
If you allow it to change and you allow yourself to fall in love and you allow life to happen, like, dude, shit happens. And then you learn to adapt.
How old is Isla now? She's 2, right? 2 years old?
Yeah, she's 2. 2 in a month. Or almost 2 in 2 months now.
So she's not in kindergarten yet, right? Did that start at 3 or 4?
No, preschool is like now till about 4 or 5, and then kindergarten's like 4 or 5.
Oh, okay.
I think, 5.
I thought it was earlier than that. Okay.
No, it's a little later. So we got time.
Yeah, for sure.
And everything's kind of, we're in like a nice little pocket right now.
Yeah, it's cool.
You know, things are slow, and I'm like enjoying this like downtime, like, and I've been doing some freelance work. Like I have a job tomorrow that I'm gonna help my buddy move some furniture, and then I've been doing stuff like that, like day rate stuff, just freelance jobs, and when I can. And those are like so few and far between. But yeah, Isla she's a toddler, and you know, I'm in the terrible 2s, people say, and they're not wrong. It's like it's very, very real. You know, she's a sweetheart, but you know, having a toddler like screaming at you
all day long.
One moment. Well, it's just like not knowing what they want and can't communicate properly.
It requires a lot of patience, A
lot of patience, a lot of like testing. Like 1 minute they're happy, the next minute they're like, you know, not hysterical, but like, you know, they're just screaming and crying. You know, and, okay, I'll get you this, like, or we're gonna do this, or you just kind of do that. You just kind of have to like, you know, we're doing this. You know, instead of giving them options, you just like, here, we're gonna do this. So I've been learning a lot of stuff like that. Not so many commands. Just more like, we're going to do this and you're going to... And that's it. That's what we're doing.
This is it. Yeah.
This is it. Yeah. You can scream and cry all you want and, you know, and just... This is it. Yeah, I've been having a blast.
Yeah, it must be a trip. Yeah, as I told you, I don't have children, but I have 8 nieces and nephews, and my oldest nephew is turning 15 in I think 3 weeks from now, and it's a trip because like I feel like in my mind it's like he was born 5 years ago. Like 15 years just flew by, and he's not my son, so I can't even imagine as a parent like how your perception of time has changed when you have kids. Like it's like
I mean when you have kids, you can see time.
Yeah.
You can't see time without... I mean, you just look at your watch. That's how you see time, or your phone. But with the kid, you just see it every day.
Exactly.
You see the inches grown, the cognitive development, and all of that. You're just like, whoa, you know. And she's like, she's bigger. Like, oh my God. Like, these last 2 years have been lightning speed, and like, you know, it's only going to get faster.
For sure.
And all the people you run into, that's... You know, I ran into this dude yesterday at Publix, and I brought Isla with me, and he was like, you know, telling me how much he misses that age, and showing me his like kid that they're going to like high school already.
Oh wow, okay.
It's just a classic, like, you know, enjoy this moment. You know, it's gonna go fast, and I'm like, I know, dude. Like, I understand it now more than ever.
Yeah.
Because I equate everything to skating, you know? Time and, like, how precious it is, and window closing and where my body is. Like, so now I just see her, and I'm like, whoa, such a trip. And also managing time.
Yeah.
When can I do this? Like, all right, she's taking a nap. All right, I can get out to the skate park for, like, an hour and a half or 40 minutes and, like, you know, this is my sweat, you know, for the day.
Yeah, your workout kind of,
This is my workout for the day. If I'm not doing jiu-jitsu that day, like, there's gotta be some kind of, you know...
Movements and,
movement.
Cardio.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, man, it's a trip. And who knows? Maybe have another one someday and then start the whole process over.
Yeah, I mean, that's a bit personal, but are you guys thinking about it, or are you still kind of like, well, we're still adapting to having a kid, and we're maybe in the future?
Yeah, no. It's gonna. Yeah, we want another one.
Okay, at some point.
At some point, yeah. We want Isla to have a sibling, and you know, and we want to have it soon too, just so we're in this like pocket of
this
like
window, yeah.
Window of chaos.
Right. Yeah. Might as well. Yeah.
Might as well just like get it, you know, out the way. And yeah, I want her to have like I want them to like grow up together. You know, mom and dad aren't going to be there forever, so I want them
to know their grandparents and sure, yeah.
Yeah, that, and to like know, like if God forbid something happens to us, you know, like they have each other.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll see.
Okay, let's do a quick last one.
Mr. Delatorre. Mr. Rodriguez asks, if you could leave one long-lasting impression on skateboarding, what would you want it to be?
Wow.
Did you recognize who that was?
Matt?
Yes, Matt Rodriguez, yeah.
Yeah, that was Matt. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, man. He impaled, you know, they really were my, like, go-tos in Sacramento in the beginning. And, you know, and then I met Seb and Andrew Nelson and Brendan and that whole crew after. But really, I was spending a lot of time with, like, Matt and Sac, playing pool and skating with him and, you know, drinking some beers. And he would throw, like, this, like, skate jam, this, like, junk jam.
Mm-hmm.
Every Sunday or Saturday in this parking lot, like right near his place. And that was like, dude, I'd look forward to that like every weekend. So yeah, Matt Rodriguez, you know, he's done a lot. He's done so much for Sacramento and for skating. And like, dude, I just, you know, I hold him at like a very high, like that dude's like big bro, the illest, like has always given me really good advice on things. And that's a really good question, man.
Yeah.
Because
I thought it was a good like end question to wrap this up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. What would I want to leave in skateboarding? I don't know. I just hopefully a good example for, you know, the younger generation, like a blueprint. Hopefully, you know, that they can kind of like
follow the example and
kind of that, and just like I don't know, man. That's a really, really tough question.
Yeah, it's hard to answer on the spot. Yeah.
No. I like it though too, because it's making me like I want to leave it with making sure that the people I crossed paths with through skating, that it was like a good experience. That whatever time I spent with people in my life through skateboarding, through traveling, I hope that it was a good experience, you know, and it was fun and like, you know, and we're still connected in one way or another. And helping out community too, just helping out other kids. Mm-hmm. Like if kids have questions and, you know, and I'm not trying to give unsolicited advice, but if they want advice, I'm always down to be an ear and give them some guidance.
Share some of your experience,
share some experience. Yeah, shared experience, exactly. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what I'd want to leave in skating. You know, aside from just like skateboarding itself, just more of like a good energy and a good, like, I want to leave it content. I want to leave it knowing that wherever I went and whoever I ran into, I was the best version of myself, hopefully.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. I like that, yeah.
And that's how I'd want to leave planet Earth. Not just skating.
Not just skateboarding,
you know?
Yes, of course.
And it's just constant work every day, forever.
To be the best version of yourself, like you said, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
In all circumstances.
In all circumstances, and not just skating. But yeah, skating, I want to leave it, you know, knowing that I tried my best. I did what I wanted to do. In skating, obviously, I'd like to do more. You know, if my body's letting me continue this and work and all that, sponsors. But yeah, I'm just grateful, so grateful for how much time I've had thus far in this. You
Absolutely,
know, we're here.
Yeah. And this is not the end. This is not the retirement interview.
No,
this is just
man.
This is just Brian Delatorre in 2024.
Yeah. No, man. Like I'm here and I'm right here and now, present, and the fact that we can even have this conversation and I get to, meet you through this and hopefully meet you when I get to Paris next time I'm there, and I'm just grateful for that. And
Me
this
too.
is this is what it's all about, really.
Yes.
Like, if you really pull it all back, that's what I want to leave in skating, is don't get too caught up in getting skate clips. That'll come. Just enjoy the ride, enjoy, the day-to-day, the people around you, your friends, your family, and
be kind to people, and
more love, more compassion.
Receive a lot in return, and
Absolutely. That's what I would want to leave. Knowing that I left with that. If I ever leave, I don't think I'll ever leave skating. Like, Matt Rodriguez hasn't left skating. That dude's skating down the street right now, probably, as we speak. Jake Rupp never left. See, that dude's still skating.
Yeah.
I don't think you leave skating.
Not anymore, like people used to, probably. Like 20 years ago, they would just kind of retire and go into something completely different.
I think you just retire and you just still skate. It's just onward. Yeah. And you can still post stuff on your social media and still be involved with people, in the skate community.
It also depends. Each person is different, I guess. I mean...
Sure, you can pick and choose. You can, fully disappear from it if you want. And you know what, dude? You'll probably end up back. You're going to miss it.
Yeah.
I was talking with my friend Josh Dowd recently about it, and Dowd, he's like, dude, I was away for 10 years, and then I kind of started skating again and kind of going on these trips with, 80s Joe and Kato and Ross Norman, and, I was like, damn, that was kind of fun. Maybe I should start skating again. And now he's full blown, ripping again. And he doesn't have an Instagram. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean he's not.
It's not happening, yeah.
He's doing his thing again with his,
for himself, for the love of it,
yeah, for the love. And he's not expecting, he doesn't want money. He's just doing it to be involved in skating again.
Yeah.
So, I think I'm hoping that I'm still involved in skating in one way or another in the future.
Yeah. I'm sure you will, yeah. I mean, I don't know, but I hope so.
Well, yeah, we'll see. And that's another thing. I don't trying to have, low expectations these days. Just very low, and, you won't be left disappointed if you have little to no expectations. You'll just kind of oh, cool, this is great. If this works out, great. If it doesn't, then you pivot, you maneuver, and we're good at that. We're good at that, especially as skaters. We're masters at this shit.
Yeah, adapting, yeah, for sure.
Adapting, dude. We're really good at it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, that was I don't think I'll ever leave skating. Even if I don't skate for months or life happens, I think I'll still always be in skateboarding.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up here. Thank you so much,
Brian.
Man. That was a lot of fun. And best of success for everything you have coming up in the next few months.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on the show, man.
That's it for my conversation with Brian. Follow him on Instagram at Brian_Delatorre. Delatorre is spelled Delatorre. Go watch and rewatch all his epic video parts from the last 20 years, and keep an eye out for his upcoming skate and photography projects. Thank you for tuning in. See you soon for a new episode of Beyond Board.